from the gym.
It's a good look on you, Mal.
Thank you. I'm in a very weird mood this morning, so this could.
Now you know what I feel like 90% of my life.
What? You just feel weird?
No, I just feel like, because I stay up all night and then don't sleep. Just makes you
Interesting.
a little loopy.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought your microphone was some sweats with like writing on it and your leg was up. And I was like, you just look so casual and chill and
my leg would have to be like clear up here.
Like, okay, Brett Cooper. Just kidding.
You're so funny. I was wondering why you thought my sweats looked good. I'm like, you can't even see them, but
yeah, I'm like, that's cute. I thought you had like a set on and writing. I'm like, you look all like you're wearing name brand stuff.
No.
Yeah. Makes me think maybe I should wear name brand stuff.
You should. Sponsored by Road Sweatpants. Just kidding.
Al and Nat Sister Chat Sweatpants.
I'm doing my makeup. I told you that, but I didn't tell the podcast that. So I'm doing my makeup because I was up super late, and I don't know why.
And it's like, yeah, everyone and their dog does makeup on their YouTubes, and there's a reason. I'm like, it really is way more interesting to listen to a story when someone's doing makeup. I don't know why.
That's not why I'm doing it, but that's funny.
Maybe because when their stories get boring, you're like, well, there's something to look at.
At least their face will be pretty when they're done.
Right? I don't know. It doesn't get old to me, even though it's like a huge trend. I'm like, that's
funny.
I still like
I
it.
do like watching people put makeup on. Unless it's like bad. There's this YouTuber that would do that. She'd like tell stories, and she'd be like, so she did like a family vlog, and then she'd do her makeup while she's talking, but like she wasn't very good. And it was like, I was like, oh my, why you're doing your brows like that? All right, and then
and like the stuff they use and stuff, like obviously you don't want to use $50 everything when you do your makeup. Right. Some of them even make a living on dollar store makeup, but it's like the way they apply it. You're like, did you learn that? Like, it's like they're still in middle school. I'm like, what? How are you still doing your makeup that way? I don't know. I can't talk. I tried to do no makeup today, and now I'm like, oh, I just look tired. I am so, like, ugh, I have congestion all right here.
Oh, in this general area.
I'm going to give it to you through the podcast.
I know. I'm like, don't get me sick. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait. We live 100 miles away. What are we talking about specifically today? Okay,
so I have like a whole list of questions, and we're gonna get
deep. That's right. Okay.
And personal.
Is it that time of the month podcast?
No, but I mean it could be.
I definitely need to edit out that snorting of the boogers. That's gonna have to happen.
I didn't even hear it till you pointed it out.
I know. I really, really hate when people do that publicly. Like, they're just like, but it is like either that or it drips down my face. So I'm like, I don't know what to do right now.
Do you remember? This is gonna offend. It's fine. You remember when we
because we have to edit things, and I hate editing. Don't.
Okay, you know what's scary though? It's like Mom quoted something that I said in a podcast that I swore I edited out. I swore I did, and I was like, like, is that good?
You know what though? I'm like, I mean, if someone's annoyed, they can just not listen to us. We don't know anything.
Bound to annoy somebody.
Yeah, like just chill out, peeps.
Just relax.
Yeah, we can say rude things about you and yours all the time. We kind of do. Corey told me. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I just can't remember what we were talking about before that, and then it went off.
Mom saw something.
No,
Mom listened to something that you thought you edited.
I don't know. I was gonna say something offensive, and then I forgot what it was. That was
good.
That was serendipity. I can't remember what it was. It was very good. Okay. Sorry. Do you remember when we moved to Missouri in middle school, and like we were like, I feel like it's socially acceptable here to like snort
100
with your boogers.
That was like a total culture shock from Utah, where you don't snort your boogers, apparently. I don't know. But I totally remember that, like, moving to Missouri and having adults in our life that...
Yeah. No, like, it'd be like winter season, and you're, like, talking to your teacher, and they'd be like... Anyways, number 3, and I was like...
I can't quite rub Missouri off of me. It's still in there. I'm snorting.
Oh, I live in Missouri. I live in Missouri now, so I feel like I can say that.
So I was watching this podcast or this YouTube channel of this lady who she wasn't from the US and she was trying to explain to other Europeans what the United States is like living there and stuff like that, or traveling there.
Yeah.
She's like, it's basically like 50 different countries, all with their own unique culture, are all like united under one government. And she's like, so you'd go from one state to the next, and she's like, people will act entirely differently.
Yeah.
They'll dress differently. They'll look different. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so true. I don't know why I don't think of it that way.
Yeah.
But
that is very
moving
true.
from Utah to Missouri, like obviously there's some similarities. There's some key cultural differences for sure.
And not that like Utah has the best culture, because I like Missouri better. But yeah, there's some funny things. You're like, weird.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and we always bag on Utah. My parents live there, and they're always like, "You need to stop. There's some really good people here." I'm like, I know, it's true.
It's just
I think
fun to
the
judge
loud
them.
ones that are most noticeable, loud with the way they dress and the way they live and everything, not just like, are the ones we notice. But I'm like, it's true. I bet a majority of people there are down to earth, good.
Well, and the actual ones that I actually know, I love. It's like just looking, just the first like glance, you're like, oh my gosh, you all look the same, and it's creepy.
Yeah. Okay, I was thinking this the other day though, so I'm working on my kitchen right now, and I'm putting I up to this point in my decorating, it's always been like, what's trending, like what can I find at the store or whatever. And I was like, for the first time, I'm gonna do exactly what I want. I don't care if it's in style, I don't care if it's, you know what I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want it dated, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's been so fun, and it made me realize how creepy it is that there's this like mom trend of like walk in someone's house and you almost can name everything that's going to be in there. Do you know what I mean? Like all the throw blankets are the same, and the pillows look the same, and the layout looks the same, and the art is even this, like everyone has like we were joking about like a cow on their wall, and like there's maybe not anymore. Now it's like boho. But anyway, there are variations, because like Banny's house is boho, but it's very unique to her. Like she picks out what she likes, and she just, I don't know how to explain it, but there's some you go in and it's like they just went into Pottery Barn, grabbed an entire set, and then brought it to their house.
Okay, and here's the thing though, is I cannot make fun of decorating because that's how I decorate.
No, you don't. Your house actually feels like you. My point in that is that it feels like in line with this culture of like, I'm too afraid to do anything unique, so I'm just gonna make sure that it looks exactly like everyone else's, and then I'm safe. And I'm like, it just
like beige mom
it's
thing.
so boring. And obviously that's not trending anymore, so it's easy to say. And I totally went through that where I just did exactly what was trending and what everyone else did. But anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this. I just realized as I'm doing my own that it's so fun. It makes it feel like alive and just interesting, even to me. And I'm the one who decorated it. I'm like, that's just fun to look at. But I don't know. I follow this girl on YouTube who has one of the beige houses, and I'm just like, they all look the exact same. They look like museums or something. I don't know.
There's this mom that I follow. She has like a cleaning thing. She's like a cleaning channel, but it's like the most beige house I've ever seen in my life. Like it's like the dishes and the dishwasher and like every single like artifact that you can buy is beige. And like when she cleans it, it just looks like a hospital. Like I'm like,
It's not even necessarily the colors, because I have a friend who decorates very neutral, but all of her items are like real antiques. All of her finds are from like 17 different stores. It's not like all of this came from Target. You know what I mean? Okay, that's what they look like. They look like Target. We should call them Target homes. That's exactly what they look like. Like Target has really cute stuff, but it looks like they just walked in, grabbed everything at Target, and decorated their home with it. And I'm like, it is pretty. It's prettier than mine, but it's boring too, and not very brave. Like I'm like, just do something that actually reflects you. And
I'm really bad at decorating, so I kind of understand that. Like I shouldn't say really bad. It doesn't come naturally to me. So like,
I was gonna say, you're not
when
bad.
I go in the store and I see like a display, I'm like, yeah, sure, that looks good. So I'll just like grab it and go. And anyway, so I can kind of understand that.
It's true. I operate under the assumption everyone enjoys it, and they're like, I just want my home to be pretty, which is totally fine.
I don't enjoy it. I'd rather, like, I want it to look good. I just don't enjoy the, like,
The
process of it. I'm just like,
right.
just make it look good. I don't know.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
but your home feels like it reflects you. I don't walk in there and think like, oh, just like every home I've ever seen. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that type of home, but it really does feel like a hospital. You're just like, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, that was a rant and maybe
It's fine.
rude.
It's
And
fine.
not everyone likes to decorate, so I don't know why I'm even being mean like that. But yeah, I'm not even talking about neutrals. It's just, it's like, it's like if I'm gonna pick a couch, it has to be the exact type that everyone else is using right now. And if I'm gonna pick a blanket, it's not just like a neutral one that I like, but it's like, what's the one everyone has? I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if you don't know what to do, it's easier to just do what's trending too.
That's so true.
Because you're
And
like,
I
at
did
least
go
I know I won't look like a freak or like a 70s home or something,
100%. And I would argue too that their homes are much more cohesive and even more beautiful than mine in the sense that I feel everything's working together and looks nice and stuff. It just every time I walk into a home like that, I'm like, not another one, you know?
Another
But
home.
I know. I guess decorating is something I am passionate about, so maybe that's why I care so much. Probably
Yeah,
most people
I
are
think
like, who
so,
cares?
because
It's just
I get
pretty, yeah.
opinionated about things that I am like good at or care about too.
But doing the same workout every day. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Do something different.
I know.
Well,
I'm like,
I
that's such
did
a
make a
dumb
realization this morning though, like there's this thing where people are like, now it's trending to be skinny, and they're like trying to push this new body type or something, and like I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I genuinely don't care. Like I'm
what
like,
the trend
what's
is.
the body? Well, I feel like bodies types trending is very weird to me. I'm like,
That is
that's
a
weird.
weird. I 100% agree.
Like I'm
If
like,
you
you
have
should
the.
be
Sorry, go
healthy
ahead.
and shape your body how makes you happy in the end. Like
Yeah.
I think it's
There,
weird.
there's no girl on the planet either who's really healthy and happy who does not turn heads. You know, if like that's what you're
Yes.
going for.
Yes.
I'm like, I.
To overthink it, I think.
If they're way overthinking it. I follow this black girl on YouTube who's got like a very like not non what do you call that, non-trending, none of her beauty is conventional, like
Mhm.
she's just so unique looking, and she's one of the prettiest people I've ever seen, but there's nothing about her that you're like, oh, she looks just like everyone else. Like maybe that's
Yeah.
why it's so refreshing, but she just has such a unique face and unique body shape, and but she's really fit. She's like really happy, and I don't know. All the comments too are like, "You're so pretty." Like
Yeah.
you just can't not look at her, and I think it has more to do with her confidence and like she doesn't overly do the makeup. I don't know. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it. There's
I
nothing
think
about her trending, and she's
yes.
so cute.
I think there is a glow that comes with like just being healthy and taking care of yourself. Like I don't
And
think
confident. Like
it
I'm just
needs to
happy.
be
Yeah.
Like I was like I like doing the like grow your booty and like all
Yeah.
that weight training stuff, mostly because I've never had curves, and so it's like it's fun, like you actually get to have curves if you never had them,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, this
Yeah.
is fun. And so that's what I do at the gym, and I like it's not like trending anymore, but I'm like, I genuinely don't care, like I just makes me
Yeah.
happy and I'm doing it, and so the end.
Well, and yeah, if you ask any guy on the planet, A, they're not going to know what body type is trending, and
No.
B, they literally do not care. They're
No.
like, yep, she's hot.
Yeah.
Yep, she's hot. They
Yeah.
just, I'm like, it's so stupid. The
Yeah.
only guys who are going to care about that are bimbos, so I'm like, it's,
Yeah.
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 If
Anyway.
you're young and single and trying to attract a man, I don't know. I don't know why I'm even like give you that advice. You'll never attract a man like that.
Yeah.
We're both married. We're not trying to attract men.
We don't know anything.
uh,
I was gonna tell you something. I gotta look at my notes. I'm like so frazzled right now. I did a giant party last night, and
yeah, how did that go?
it was good. I don't like go to those, let alone host them. So I was way out of my comfort zone. I was like seriously worked myself into a lather so much that yesterday, like cleaning my house, and like I went into like every what if scenario possible. I was like texting Vanny because she's my social coach. I was like, Vanny, what if my tablecloths don't match? And like
Yeah.
Anyway, she's like, it's okay. This is what you should do. And she's like, have a backup. Because like I was having a movie party and I invited like 20 people and my TV wasn't working yesterday. And I was like, oh my gosh, worst case scenario.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be kind of stressful.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not great on my feet. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I guess we'll play charades or something, but I don't even know.
Like, you're like, sorry guys, go home.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, everyone go home. Anyway, but Vanny's like, just go get like a craft and then have that as a backup. So Walmart has these like little $5 like craft kits that are all inclusive. Like it's really cute. Like I wish I had one to show you, but they're like big. They're like, there's like a big old Christmas tree that lights up and you like paint it and like,
that's cute.
Anyway, so I bought a whole bunch of those and then like just as backup, just in case my TV didn't work. And it did work and nobody did a craft. What the? Oh, there's a ladybug right on my chest. Sorry, we're fine. What?
At least it's just a ladybug and not a spider.
Hello,
here's the problem. My internet is being dumb. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Every time we do this on the actual podcast, we just talk over each other.
Trying to reconnect. Do you have stable internet connection?
Our internet has been so bad. I think I say that every podcast, but it's like it was actually down for.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Can you all hear me? Yes.
Okay, we're back. Yeah, we just got like a notification yesterday or something. They're like, your internet will be down for 24 hours. I'm like, what? You can just like knock someone's internet out for that long. In their defense, they got back up in like 4. So I think they're just giving us worst case scenario. But I'm like, we live on an island.
Yeah, you do. You do live on an island. Lincoln County, that stuff doesn't even surprise me. I'm like, oh, my Lincoln County.
It's just, and it's so like foreign to people who don't live in teeny towns because I'm like,
well, it's a literal desert island too. It's like surrounded by nothing. It's surrounded by sagebrush for 2 hours.
Yeah. So but it's like an oasis itself. It's like a cute little green town in the middle of freaking nowhere. Like you couldn't run away without dying. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I going to tell you?
We were talking about crafts and such.
Oh, okay. So did you buy enough crafts for 20 people?
Well, I bought like 15 worth of crafts, but nobody ended up doing it. There were a few people that like took it to be nice, but I was like, this is just my backup. Like, I don't care if you do it or not. I actually don't like crafting, so I didn't do it. Yeah. So I was just like, it's just here. Like, I don't care. And so like a few people took it. My girls were like, I want one. So I let them have one and I'm going to return the rest. So.
Okay. I was like, that's like $100.
I know. I was like texting Chancey. I was like, should I do it? And he's like, will it make you feel calmer? I was like, yes. He's like, okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. Anyway. And if your TV isn't working, I'd be freaking out too. Like,
yeah. And Vanny's like, well, just like, you don't have to spend that much on crafts. Like, just do this cardboard Christmas craft. And she sent me this like Pinterest link. And I was like, I don't think you know what I'm like with crafts. Like, there's like something missing there when it comes to that.
So, she's like, all you have to do is follow the steps.
It's like a little kid when I try and do crafts. I just like, it's not without lack of trying too. I try every time and I'm like, I can't do it.
So funny.
It looks so bad.
I am not I decided I'm not a kit crafter. Yeah. And I'm not a group crafter. Like, cause I will, because I have a group of friends who do it together, and I do it because I like to be with them. Yeah. And I just love talking to them. Yeah. But if I were to choose, I would never do a group craft because it takes away, like, my creative process is like hours and hours of like thinking and trying and messing up and doing it again. You know what I mean? So I'm
making mistakes and
just having like a lot of free thought so that I can. And I can't do that if I'm talking. Like, no. I know. Which is the point of a kit, I guess. You don't have to think. You just kind of do it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was me, like, panicking, but it's fine. I'm going to return them all anyway. And
I think it's a really good idea if your TV's, like, not working in a movie party. I'm like, that's the worst thing that could happen.
I know. I was like, this literally never happens. Why would it do it right now?
I know.
But, what was I going to say? Yeah, so it turned out good. I got a good turnout and stuff. I just was like, afterwards, I was like,
exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of the feelings you feel about like social, like freaking out and like being exhausted after, I think are normal. I think they're just more heightened with you probably because you
I think I'm
get
just
more
out of
nervous.
practice. Yeah.
Right. But I'm like, I seriously like feel almost like I want to cancel every time I host something. Like I'm like, okay, we're all sick. We can't do it. Or like, cause
that
it's a
makes me
lot
feel
of
better.
pressure. Yeah. You just, and like, so I just hosted a girls' night not long ago, and mostly because it was time. Like everyone had hosted several times, and I just kept like avoiding it. And I was like, okay, I've got to host. Mostly because I just feel like my house is never clean, and it is, but like only for a few seconds every day. And and then to like get it clean enough that I would feel comfortable having people like sit around on the ground and like, you know what I mean? Drop their food on the ground on accident. I'm like, I literally had to spend 3 hours cleaning because I had to like vacuum and mop and clean in spaces that aren't normally cleaned. Anyway, so then I avoid it because I'm like, oh, this is so much pressure, and my kids come down for 1 hour and wreck it all. And,
well, and like you go through all this effort, and like, what if nobody shows up? And it's just like a lot, and it makes me feel bad for all the times I have bailed on parties. I'm like, it's a lot to get ready for them, and I feel bad for all the times I'm I'm an introvert.
I used to do the like show up because I feel like someone needs support, which I will do sometimes, especially if it's someone who's just getting their feet wet socially, or like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, if no one goes to this, it will set a course for them for a long time. I'll go to those. But I do have this like social rule that I'm like, I don't really want to falsely reward people for things that I don't want them to keep doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if someone is hosting, I can't even think of anything because I like most things, but something I'm not interested at all, unless they need a little boost socially, I'm like, I am not going to signal to them that I want this to continue because I do not. I'm not
don't
interested.
like it.
Yeah.
Well,
which other people like me, and they can party without me. But anyway.
I do think, picking and choosing what actually makes you happy. I was reading this like social book a long time ago, and she was saying, she's like, people aren't just like introverted and extroverted, and that's it. Like, just there's a scale, obviously, but like, fine,
it's a spectrum.
That's a spectrum, if you will. But
I'm
she's like
socially anxious on a spectrum.
Anyway, she's like, find write down, like, she had all these scenarios, and she's like, mark like yes or no next to each scenario that you would love to do socially. She's like, you're not like a recluse just because you don't like certain situations. Because so she had like a giant party with people you don't know. Like, I feel like Dad would like love that. Like, that would be like his like,
honestly, I would too. Yeah,
and you would too. But like, for me, I'm like, I would rather die. But she's like, would you like to go to a coffee shop with 2 friends? I'm like, oh yeah, I would love that. And like, would you like to go to a movie? Would you like to go? Anyway, she had like all these different scenarios, and I was like, I am social. I just like different things. And so that's what I was kind of like trying to analyze last night after everyone left. I was like, would I do that again? I don't know. Like, I had genuinely fun when that like people grouped off and started like talking to little groups. I was
gonna say, you like smaller groups.
I like small groups. It's really hard for me to be myself in a large group, and so then I just feel anxious the whole time. But in small groups, I can like be myself and have fun. And anyway, so
I think that you're really similar to Corey that way, because we always like for a while mislabeled him as like, you're an introvert, and I guess that is true though, because it's not that he doesn't have like the social skills or whatever, it's that he gets exhausted by social settings, and I seriously like could socialize over drink caffeine. Like, it makes me like more ramped up. So I was like, that's the difference between us. It's not necessarily who likes it and who doesn't, or who's good at it or who's not. Because if we go to like a party where we don't know anyone, Corey is 1,000 times better at small talk than I am,
and he probably loves it, right?
And he loves it.
Yeah,
and I am not good at that. I like to do like the intimate, like get to know you, you know. And if it's just like, where do you live? And I'd rather die. I'm like, no.
Chancey loves that too. Like, there's like this gathering, like ward parties, like church parties. He's like in his element, and I'm like, I would rather be anywhere else.
It's kind of nice. I know it's kind of nice to have a partner who's different than you, though, because when we go to those things, I just like follow behind Corey, and I'm like the quiet one, and he just talks, and then something else, I'm the one who's like,
Yeah,
So
Chansey really likes making like short, intimate connections. He's very good at it. I'm
for
very
me too.
surface until I know people for a really long time, and so it's
Yep.
hard for me to do that. But
That might just be a
anyway,
family thing because we're very different and I'm the same.
yeah, that's
I do
true.
not like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of wonder too if it's not like a mom thing. Like I realize those kind of things that where I have
Um,
my kids, it's so like annoying for me to try and socialize when I'm chasing my kids. It makes me want to
that's
like
so
punch things.
true.
Like
Yeah. The whole
like
time you're
you
multitasking.
finally get in a good conversation and then your 1.5-year-old's like in the garbage can and you're like, okay, sorry.
No, sorry that your dog died.
uh
Hold that thought, and I'll be
one
right back.
second. Well, really though, like I had this friend that I like never talked to at the church party, and she like came up and talked to us, and it was so fun, and we were like starting to get a good conversation. And then I had to, this wasn't my kids, but I had to go play the piano, and I was like, sorry, I gotta just go like leave this very good conversation. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, I hate
Yep.
bouncing; it's like exhausting for me. So,
I
um,
don't. Yeah, I definitely don't love that kind of setting. I think maybe like the practicality of mom comes through because I know Chloe's the same way and she's really social. I wonder how
yeah.
Vanny's probably fine because she's good
Though
at all
you
settings.
remember, yeah, that's true.
But
Um,
but I think we don't like to me there's no point. Like why would I like want to small talk with someone that I'm literally not going to see until next year's ward party?
I
Like that doesn't
know,
make
I
any
know,
sense to
I
me.
know.
But
Like I have a limited amount of energy. I'm not wasting it on you.
well, well, it's like it's not even like that human's a waste, but it's like this interaction is going to not further our relationship. Like maybe it'll make them feel more accepted in society, or so. I don't know. But I'm like to me,
I
it just seems so impractical.
I'm trying to decide because like I said, Chansey's really good at that and like I feel like does make a difference in people's lives with just like a few minutes. So I'm like
Yeah,
and he
that's true.
believes that. So he's like always doing it because he
Yeah.
believes it. And I'm kind of like what's it going to do anyway? And
It
so
probably is a mom thing. We're just overstimulated. We're like,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't
I'm
have the
tired.
energy for
Yeah, because like
this.
most moms that I know, like at mom's group and stuff, don't enjoy those kinds of things either because they're
Yeah.
constantly chasing kids and like
Even if I'm
anyway.
not chasing kids there, I have been all day. And I'm like, the last thing I want to
Yeah.
do is like, I don't know, go and be overstimulated by other people who I'm not
Yeah.
responsible for. Like, I'm
Yeah.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Anyway,
that's true of Corey too. After being at work all day, he's like, all I've done is talk to people. I don't want to go do it again. Okay, so this
yeah.
leads me to a question. Sorry, I just got distracted. I have to show you this. See my nails? Can you tell?
Question.
See this
Yeah, those are
makeup.
pretty.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is like a nail conditioner. So it's like your nails but
Ooh.
better, and it lasts on them for weeks and weeks. And you just it's like a $20 bottle of nail polish, but once you put it on,
What?
they just look really like princess
Yeah.
nails. Like they're just really
Wow.
subtle. And anyway, I
Is
love
that like
how
Amazon?
yep, yep,
Can you
and
send
it's
that to me?
I will, but I found on YouTube under like Amazon products that have crazy reviews, and it has like yeah, like everyone loves it. There's almost like
Yeah.
no bad reviews. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got
Um
shot by my own nails. I meant to tell you that earlier. What was I going to tell you? Crap. We're talking about socializing, and I had to say something. Dang it. Okay.
yeah, I just was gonna say with all this, I think I already said this, I don't remember. But I just I don't I think that there's just certain scenarios that fill me up because like socially there are some times when I'm like I feel like I'm on caffeine like I just had so much fun
Yeah.
socially that I'm like that like usually after my sisters or a very small group of close friends that's how I feel or like a really good conversation. If it's
Yeah.
like anything else I get really tired by it, but it doesn't necessarily mean I hated it. I'm just tired.
Well, I think that, oh, I remember my question, but I think that I think what exhausts you, at least from what I understand, is caring what people think. So if you're in a setting, I'm not saying you, I'm thinking of the times I'm exhausted by social settings,
hmm
but it's usually in a huge crowd where I don't know people well, so that I'm open to judgment or whatever.
Yeah.
And any interaction I have is going to be judged because it's quick and I'm not going to
Yeah.
see them again. So I think that is the exhausting part. Is like, did I do that right? And like, now what do they think of me? I didn't mean to say it that way or whatever.
You're
I've
cutting up.
heard that before that introverts are very worried about like I didn't come across the way I meant to. And Corey has said that. He's like, I can't
Yeah.
like express myself the way I want to, and so then I'm
Yes.
exhausted trying to like make
Yeah.
that happen.
It's Yes, it's very frustrating because like I don't feel like I'm a dead fish, and yet I portray that. so,
when you're
so I'm like, I'm fun, dang it. But yeah. Anyway,
you just
yeah,
like
I think that's very true.
like
But
to
there are situations though when like I'm very comfortable in the group, but I'm still exhausted because of the sheer number. Like for example, like our family reunions or something. Like I know
but
everyone very well. I'm not
do
really worried what
you
they
like
think about me.
are you like really
Would you
comfortable
say?
there though? Because there are like in-laws now and kids and there's
That's
whole
true.
other
That's true.
elements. Like if it was
It's not
not that I'd
just
want
family
any of them
members.
gone, but if it was just siblings, we probably wouldn't feel quite that.
Yeah.
You're at a comfort level that's just like I can like fart and no one's gonna even like blink at me. You know what I mean? So I'm like there is a
Right.
comfort level that kind of
I
makes
actually,
you relaxed entirely.
yeah. I actually don't know if there's like a number of people that, because I've never spent time with like people that I'm very close with that in large groups. So I don't know if
Yeah.
there's a number that anyway, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Anyway.
like trying to think if it was like if you had like 17 more sisters, but you were as comfortable with them as you are with us, you'd probably be fine.
Yeah,
Maybe,
maybe.
maybe I'm
I don't
wrong.
know.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
you and
I
Corey are
think
very
maybe it's too
similar.
much
Yeah,
for my brain to manage. Like with three sisters, I'm like, I can handle you that because I can remember what I said that was rude or whatever and
yeah.
stress about that. But if there was 17 of you, I'd be like, oh, I know I offended somebody and like just, I don't know.
Yeah, see, I think that's my point. I think that's where the exhaustion comes from. Just
Yeah.
because talking to Corey is the same way. He's like, I'm just always so worried I did it wrong that I'm tired after.
Yeah,
So,
that's
like,
exactly
yeah.
right. So yeah, I guess that's what I wondered after the party was I was like, is this like a weakness that I can overcome or is this my personality that I should embrace? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, both. I think like
okay.
well, I think like our personalities are weak. You know what I mean? Like even
Yeah.
if it's like that's my personality, like you could always overcome it if it bothers you. I guess it
Well,
just
I
depends
know
on
you
if
can
it
overcome
worsens
it.
you.
Yeah, I know I could overcome it. I'm just wondering if is it okay to just not necessarily love hosting a giant group or is
100%. I don't.
okay.
You have like a should in your head, like I
I
should be
know.
good at this or I should love it, and I'm like,
I
why?
do. Well, I think because I have so many extroverted siblings and family
Maybe
members that
so.
I'm like, I just feel like it's a weakness that I can't do it. Like I'm like, I have to fix it. I got to host 500 people and love it. And I'm like, but I just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
I have this like inability to make like really 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 close friends. Like
Like what?
I have friends who have best
Oh,
friends. If that makes sense. I'm always on like the not the acquaintance but
yeah.
like the friendly level with groups.
I have
And
a friend who has a friend.
yeah, I know people who have friends. I'm just kidding. But I do tend to like not friend hop, but have like a lot of variety. Like I like this group and I like this
Yeah.
group, but none of them look at me as like their best buddy. Like no, and I don't have a single like best friend. Like you're my best friend and Chloe and Vanny. Like that's the closest I've ever come. And maybe I don't need it because of sisters, but
Yeah.
part of me I just observe people who do like they do everything together. They
Yeah.
call each other
They
when
vacation together.
they vacation together, and I'm like,
Yeah.
am I broken? Like
I
I
know. I
and
know. I do the
and I
same
look
thing.
at it like I maybe I have a weakness there, and actually Corey and I have discussed this. I actually do, but at the same time, I'm not really interested in fixing it. I'm very fulfilled on my relationship with my husband and my sisters, so I'm like, if
Yeah.
that ever changed and I really needed some social interaction, I'd probably have to just like grind and work on that really hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, as
Yeah.
it is, I'm really happy, so I'm fine. Like,
Yeah.
if you're miserable, maybe you should address it. Otherwise, I don't know. If it's not hindering you, I'd just roll with your personality. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah. Well, and I think no, I think that feels right. I think too, like I genuinely like all the women that I invited. Like I just really
Yeah.
like them. It just needs to be small doses because I was like, well, I like everyone. I don't want to disclude everyone, you know? So I was like, I was just gonna invite a few, but I was like, I just like them all, so I want them all to come.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and not that I didn't want them there, but I just was like, I was so tired. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I just kind of think maybe
Well,
I'll do smaller doses next time.
yeah. Well, and I guess I wonder too, like, what's wrong with being tired after hosting? Like, why does that
Yeah,
matter?
is that a bad thing?
I think
Well,
that's really normal.
I was so wound up yesterday. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, like, is there birth anxiety every time?
But
Yeah, but
yeah,
think of, like, I had to teach Sunday school, and I almost puked the first, like, 3 weeks, and then
yeah,
now,
that's
literally,
how
you
I
could
felt.
ask me to teach tomorrow, and I'd be like, "Okay." You know? So I'm like, it took
Yeah,
so many times of just heading straight into
right.
the fire to get used to it, and now I don't care. And it's
Yeah,
almost like I'm
that's what I
cured
wonder.
for
Like, if
life
I
because
were to
I'm like,
keep doing it, if I would
yeah,
relax more. But
yeah.
anyway,
I haven't taught for a while. I don't know why I can't think of that word. Wow.
what
And
is the word?
I still feel like I could easily. So I'm like, it's almost like you'd have to like really break through the brick wall and then it's just broken. Like you would never have to go back and
Yeah.
revisit that. I feel like, but I could be wrong, but I think you've worked
Oh, you're
yourself up
cutting
into
out.
these. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. I think you've like worked yourself up
Now I
into
can't.
these the can you hear me now?
Yeah.
This is gonna be awesome because I'm gonna be like repeating the same line like over
I know.
when we listen to the podcast. I hate that about the podcast is it's not the same as this. So it's like when you watch it, it looks like we're just talking to ourselves, yelling over each other.
You're just cutting in and out.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, it's like every time you ask, "Can you hear me?" I'm like, "Yes," and then immediately I stop being able to hear you, and so
Because I talk too fast. I'm just kidding.
no, no, you talk too fast for your internet.
Yeah, my internet
Slow
can't
down.
keep up. Okay, sometimes I feel that way with my fingers. I'm like, can you anticipate my
Your
next thought,
fingers.
please? When I like type something, like my internet's like, whoa, whoa.
Oh,
So I'm like jumping like this all over my
slow
phone. Like,
down.
I don't know what's happening, just like malfunctions. Like, um, I was just saying, you probably are overthinking it as far as
Yeah, I think so.
like this makes me tired and I hate it. And all those things are normal. I think probably for you they're heightened, but everyone has those
Yeah,
thoughts before they host.
yeah.
I literally wish
Well,
everyone would cancel every time I host. And
yeah,
then when they don't, I'm grateful, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yep, it does. Yeah, it does. Um, yeah, and I think there's certain people too that I'm like, I need them to love me. Like, it's not like I want them to like me. I need them to love me. And if they don't, I will melt in a puddle on this floor.
That's funny.
And so
Yeah.
I get like really stressed about what they think. And I know it's like, don't care what people think, but I can't help it. There's certain people that I'm
Oh,
like, I do. I
it's
just
so
want them
hard.
to love me.
Uh-huh.
Anyway,
Uh-huh. Who do I
love
feel that
me.
with? I
It's
don't
usually people I
know.
admire or like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to think like who I get upset about if they don't like me. Basically everyone. I don't like when people don't like me, but then
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you know what? I think you're like used to making less waves too. Like you're just nice and like quiet and
Yes.
I am like literally offending people like the minute I walk in a room. So I have gotten used to that. So I'm like, maybe I don't care as much. But I do care what people think.
Yeah.
But when they're like, oh, I hate her, I'm mad at her, I'm like, yeah, figures.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just like happens so
Sorry.
often. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think that's why I was stressed out too, because I usually like when I go to these kind of parties, I'll like come in quietly. I don't really talk till I warm up. And so like the fact that I had to be carrying the conversation and like that
yeah,
was like
it's a lot
extremely
of pressure.
stressful for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was also the first time I've ever hosted anything big ever in my entire life. So like I've had a few friends over now and then, but never have
Right.
I. So I was just like,
Oh,
but
that's like groundbreaking, and you're not dead, and ended up being successful, and
yeah.
like yeah,
Yeah.
I think those things are good. Well, I was just watching this Jocko video, and it's kind of one of his famous ones, but it's like one of his buddies would call him and be like, "Oh, this is happening. It's like a really bad thing, whatever's going on in their life," and he'd be like, "Good," and that's kind of the point of the video is like whenever something bad happens, he's always like, "Good," and then he goes on to explain like there's always going to be something born of difficulty. So if you're in a situation where you're uncomfortable and it's hard and you're not figuring it out, that is exactly where like good things are born. So
Yeah.
so you should be happy that you're uncomfortable rather than like I'm uncomfortable so I'm doing
Yes.
something wrong. Like
I'm
you're
really
uncomfortable because you were brave enough to host a party when you hate that.
Yes, you're
Yeah,
right.
that's a good
You're
thing.
right. I've been
Yeah.
trying to like really wrap my head around that idea because I really don't like to be uncomfortable.
Yes, no, humans don't. No one does.
Yeah, but like, yeah, and I'm trying to get better at that because I have these big dreams of like start a business and whatever, but it's very, uncomfortable. You have to put yourself out there and
Yeah,
just know that like when it flops, it's okay, and that's a good
yeah,
thing because you learned and whatever. So I'm
yeah,
truly trying to be like, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay.
yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, and with like homeschooling, like I'm really trying to wrap my head around this because honestly, it's been one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like I'm
Uh-huh.
like, like I would say like 50% of the time I want to gouge my eyes out with a wooden
Uh-huh.
spoon, and the other
Uh-huh.
50% I love it with my whole soul. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
how, like I've never felt so conflicted about something in my life. And so I guess because like half the time I'm like, their butts are going back to school the minute
Yep.
September 1st
Yep.
starts, like they're
Yep.
gone.
Yep.
And but at the same time I'm like, is it bad that I'm uncomfortable? Like I haven't hit the point of mental breakdown yet. I know when I've hit that. I've been there before. Like I'm
Yeah.
not there yet, but I
Yeah.
am like, oh, this is so
Close. Yeah.
hard, and I've grown
Yeah.
so much, like patience wise and like all the things. So I'm like, I can't say that it's bad, but at the same time,
Uh-uh.
I'm losing my freaking mind. Anyway, sorry.
You're just like, and well, this is growing pains too, because the first year that I did it, I was like, I was coming off of what, 6 years of being used to 8 years of being used to no kids around me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
they were in school for that many years, and then this one year, I'm like, obviously this isn't good for me because I'm not happy. The house is chaotic.
yes,
They're not happy, or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah,
this. And now, what's crazy? We went on a vacation, Corey and I never was one of those moms who's like, I miss my kids. I
yeah,
can't handle this.
yeah,
And not that I would end a vacation for this because I think it's healthy to get away, but I
yeah,
genuinely miss them so much when I'm not with them even for a day because I'm
yeah,
so used to their presence. I'm used to the
yeah,
chaos. I'm used to the all the things that drive me crazy.
yeah,
I'm so used to now that I
yep,
couldn't send them back because I would miss them so much. But
yeah,
for seriously 2 years, that's all I dreamt about was
yeah.
when can they go back? Like, can I do this? Can I send them back? Can I send them back?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. So I think you're just going through growing pains. I really do.
Oh, you're probably right, because I
It's
already
just this.
feel better now than I did when I
Yeah,
started. But man,
yeah.
it's just so hard. I
It's
think
like
it's
any
just the
child, but you're
combo.
volunteering for
Yeah.
it. That's the difference. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And I think it's the combo of little kids and big kids you're trying to teach, because
Oh,
I was talking to my
it's
friend
so
who
hard.
started homeschooling this year, and she has an eighth grader and a sixth grader, and she's like, I love it. It's the best
Sounds
thing ever. And I was
beautiful.
like, why?
I'm
And then I was like,
so
oh yeah, like
happy.
she doesn't have little kids, but she did say that like she's very like relaxed about it, which I admire. Like she's just
Yeah,
like, they're doing it online, and like I don't know, my work's done for me. But she's like the good part is I have an eighth grader who like doesn't give me any attitude. Like it's really fun. Like
yeah,
we kind of just hang out and we have a lot of
yeah,
fun. And she's like, she wants to go
yes,
to ninth grade next year, so I'm gonna send her. But she's like, for like she kind of missed her like grumpy middle school years, and I love it. And I'm like, that's
yeah,
awesome. Like she's just
yeah,
so relaxed. She's like, yeah, they're going to high school and it's fine. And
yeah,
like her kids
yeah,
are really well adjusted. They're cheerleaders and like cute and social. And anyway,
yeah.
I admire that because she just hasn't like overthought it. She's just like, yeah, like
Right.
we're doing it and it's fun. And
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, we're good. Yeah, who cares?
yeah,
Yeah, I think for me it's really hard not to overthink the
yeah, curriculum
education
and
side of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm like, because every kid, even in the school system, is going to have an area they're not great at, and
yeah.
they're going to have strengths or whatever. But man, when you homeschool, it's just like it's
So much
because of
pressure.
me. Like
Yeah,
I'm the worst.
yeah.
But then those breakthroughs, oh, they're so exciting. I'm just
They're
going to tell
very
you this.
rewarding.
We were talking about reading, and my kids all my boys so far have been like not even close to proficient until they're like 9 years old. And I'm not kidding that we
I shouldn't
start
laugh. I'm
from,
like, Paul.
I know, but I'm not kidding that we start from about 6 years old, and maybe most
Yeah.
people start earlier, and that's why. But
Hmm.
when I feel like they can hold still and stuff, and for 2 solid years, we will just train and train and train 30 minutes a day and like doing all these
Hmm.
drills, and they
Hmm.
just I don't know what
I
it is.
don't think that's off, Nat. I mean, like Charlie just got proficient. She's almost 9, and she's
Okay,
like to the point where she can read Harry Potter on her own and like all the
okay.
things
I
and
was gonna
understand.
say maybe it's normal, but I'm
She's
like,
good at language arts and reading, and like I don't know that. and you have bouncy boys.
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you. Well, and like their brains just don't seem geared towards that because, like I said, they're so good at math. But anyway, it's fine. Whatever it is, it might be me, it might be them. But the cool thing is like Roman yesterday was like, Mom, I just finished my chapter book. He's on his like 4th book in the series. Each book's like, and it's like a teenage book or whatever. So I'm like, it took us forever to get there. He's definitely like, there are other kids who are faster than him or whatever, but I'm like, eventually you do get these rewards. They're just
so
years
delayed
down the road. Yeah, I'm like, I can't tell you how many years I stressed about his reading, and now he's like, he loves it. And not just that, but like all this trudging through and everything. He's not just good at it, he loves it. He has this foundation in reading that I'm like, I just don't know how he could get in a public school, because he could, because I could be better about doing it at home with him, whatever. But I wouldn't have. I'm not that kind of mom. I'm like, when they're at school and they're busy with sports and stuff, I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
So that's my failing. But anyway, I love that he has this foundation now.
Go out. Go find Dad. Sorry. How do they always find me? I'm literally in my basement in the storage room between 2 locked doors, and they found me.
In a closet.
Your father is home. Go get him.
Anyway, my point is like, you're not going to see the rewards immediately.
Go
you know
find
what
Dad.
I mean?
Sure, Elle. Can I have a piece of bread? Sounds like I starve her.
And some stale water.
She had apple donuts like a second ago.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
I had leftovers from the party, and they were like, if we're good, we can have some. And there was a whole bunch of leftovers, and they're like, apple donuts. Cute. I was like, yep, have it for breakfast.
I love how the kids like, I don't know why. Why do I love that? My kids are always like getting our like crumbs from parties too. Like, oh, can we have apple donuts if it's leftover? Like, they watch us socialize. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I think there's something good about that. Like, Mom and Dad,
I know. Part of me was pushing this because I wanted them to see me socialize, because they almost never do. And I'm like, I mean, that's not why I did it, but it was part of it. Like, I am showing them, like, and they kept peeking their head out. They're like, there's so many people. I'm like, I know. Just kidding.
I know, right? Can you believe it? Yeah.
I'm here with you, and I'm just kidding.
I know. Now they're playing Barbies. Have fun.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, I think that's so cool. Like, that's so good for them to see,
Yeah. I was going to say about homeschooling too. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this on the podcast already. Sorry if I did. But I just read I know. I was like talking to Vanny. She was getting my hair done, and I was like repeating stories that I've told. Like, if you listen to the podcast, you pretty much know everything about us. So like, you can't, I don't have anything else to say to you if you listen.
Whatever.
I was like trying to talk to her about stuff, and she's like, yeah, I remember you saying that on the podcast.
I remember that
I said that.
Times. Your
anyway,
podcast tends to be on a loop.
Yeah, I remember when you said that 14 times.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But I just read Helen Keller, and like when the teacher's trying to teach her, and she has these breakdowns, these battles with Helen Keller, and then finally she understands what water is. Like, it was such, like, if you homeschool, you should read that book. I cried my eyes out. I was like, this is so, I mean, obviously they're not deaf and blind, but oh my gosh, sometimes it feels like
Yeah.
Can I say that? Don't tell anyone. We're on the podcast.
Obviously, they're not Helen Keller, but it feels like I'm homeschooling for Helen Kellers. That's so funny because it's so true. Oh, that's good. It's just so funny to me because that's not to diss on disabled people. It's because it's so frustrating trying to teach little kids, especially when you're like, we're learning how to be teachers too. It's just like, you may as well be blind and deaf for how much we're getting done.
How much it's sinking. Oh my gosh. Okay, but I do give myself credit sometimes because I'm like, I watch elementary school teachers who are like losing their minds, and I'm like, hey, that's what I'm doing, but I don't ever get a break from them. So, I mean, that's not true. I have to force breaks, but it's not natural, So I'm like, okay, there's a lot that's going on, and I'm doing dinner and cleaning the house. And like, I will say, like, the biggest growing point for me, well, two of the biggest growing points has been like my patience has has doubled, like at least.
Yes.
Like I've gotten so much better. I'm not like this patient guru. I'm not, but I've gotten so much better, like letting so many little things go because you have to. Like if you get mad at everything, you're just gonna be mad all the time. So I'm like, I'm constantly
I am mad all the time when I homeschool, but
right. I mean, I'm frustrated, but I don't know. I'm just so much able to rein it in way better. And yeah, not like I don't yell because I do, but anyway.
No, I know what you mean.
And then the second thing is I've gotten way more efficient because I used to just be like, I just can't, I don't have time. And I'm like, I either have to wake up at 5 or I don't get it done. So I'm like, I just, like, I don't miss. And I'm like, that, it's just been really good that way.
It's made you a machine.
Yeah, it really has. So anyway, there's been a lot of good. My kids have improved. They're so much happier. It's hard to want to go back when they're so happy. I'm like, oh, they're just so lit up. Anyway.
I think the hard part about homeschooling is like, the answer to are they going to be better in public school or homeschool is yes.
I know. Exactly. That's exactly right. And that's what goes around in my head every day. I'm like, they'll be better either way. So it's in different ways. Different reasons.
That's what's hard. It's not like they'll be the exact same person either one you put them in. So it's like, what do you value, and are you willing to sacrifice the things that you are like the other day I was like, it was so funny. I was driving up to the church because the homeschoolers gather once a week and do like a little group, which is totally awesome. And while we're driving up there, like all the elementary kids are playing outside at recess, and like all of us, my boys and me, were like, oh, like I can't help it. I really wish I could be part of that and be part of my kids' education, because I really miss this sense of community. I miss it so bad.
Me too.
So we've formed our own, and it's great, and we're making it work. But if I could have both worlds, I 100% would. And I think that's total misunderstanding. At least when it comes to me. I think there's other homeschoolers like that too, though. Like, you've rejected us. You don't think we're good enough. You think you're better. I'm like, no, there are just some trade-offs with homeschooling that are undeniable. There's trade-offs with public school too. I want those, but I really miss you guys, like, so bad. I miss being a part of that. Like, it aches. I miss it.
Yeah. I tend to romanticize either one, to like public school and homeschooling when I'm not in it. So like when I'm obviously when I'm homeschooling, I'm like, oh, they'll have all this free time, and I forget the things I hated about public school. I think the biggest one for me was they would come home just spent, completely just squeezed out like a sponge, having learned almost nothing, which I'm like, that's our public school system. It's just awful. And they're just so worn out, and then they haven't played outside, and then on top of that you want to try and fit in piano and sports and family time, and they're like little shells of themselves. I hate it. I hate it so much. That's like probably what drives me the most, because I just drives me nuts.
I feel like sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but on the flip side, they do love certain things about school, and they love being with their friends. They love PE and lunch and all the social aspects, and I love seeing them light up with friends.
I know. Well, anyway. And having like other adults in their life to give them a different perspective. And I will say too, my decision's even harder, because I'm not joking when I say our elementary school right now is like the best it's ever been. Like,
it is good. Panetka is good. Yeah.
So many, like, every teacher there is young and
like
fresh.
Stacked.
It's stacked. Like the bench is stacked, and that's when I decided to pull. And
I know.
Like, I know. And like, it kills me, because I'm like, I seriously would, if one of those teachers was like, I'm going to be a private tutor, and I was a millionaire, I'd hire any of them. Like,
I know.
That's how good they are. And I'm like,
I know. That's my sister-in-law just started teaching 4th grade, and like, Charlie's gonna be in 4th grade next year. I was like, legit, if you live by me, I'd put her back in school. Because she's so good, and she's so sweet and patient, and like I just there's some teachers that I'm like, I'd put them in school for you.
I was gonna say, it's not even the teachers. It's the setup itself of like, cram as many kids as we can into a classroom, try and get them through a day of learning. We're on a schedule because we're under purview, which is good, like they have to meet certain standards or whatever, is even breaking the teachers. Like, it's hard for them. They're going crazy under the system. Like, so many of them are leaving. So many of them are frustrated. I know some of them here have tried to like make their voice heard. Like, this is hard. We're trying to run classrooms with 30 kids in it, and no one's listening because they can't. What are they supposed to do? Anyway, so I'm just like, For me, it's the government down that I'm frustrated with, as literally nothing to do with the individuals. I'm like, I would put my kids back for the individuals.
Oh yeah. Well,
it's the system. I just
my sister. Well, and they take risks on the kids, like they're the experiments, like they're like. So do you watch that?
Homeschool's a risk too.
That's true.
Yeah,
but somehow
we are entitled to do that because they're our children. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say we're better at it because we can see them one on one, but there are a lot of parents who do a lot of weird stuff. So I'm like, anyway,
they do, and like kids are a born experiment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, but like, did you watch that video I sent you? Like how America can't read?
No, I haven't. How did I not see that one? Okay.
I don't know. It's okay. It wasn't like, I don't know. It was kind of one of those that like you kind of already knew the information, but at the same time you're like, oh my gosh.
And sometimes it's exaggerated. Like you're like,
I don't think it was, but
they can't read by 7. I'm like, no,
it's not like that. It's just starting in the 60s, I think they stopped teaching kids phonics, is what he said, and so that they just look at the whole word instead of being able to sound it out. You've heard this before,
right?
Anyway,
that's only true. Like there are teachers here who are just like, that's stupid, and they teach the kids phonics anyway.
Well, that's what I think, and also the problem isn't that they're not teaching phonics, because he was like, look at these stats, like people can't read and they're not reading, and like they're going to these elite colleges and telling their professors that they can't get through a book. I'm like, they can't get through a book because they're on their freaking phone 24/7. That's why. I'm like,
I'm less of a reader than I was when I graduated college.
Well, he like went through all these things in the very end. He's like, and our phones are distracting. I'm like, it is the phone. It is 100% the phone. I would bet all my money on it. Anyway, I'm like, why would I love reading and I don't read because of my phone. And I finally came to the conclusion, which is like, it's obvious, but like that my phone is just going to win between a book every single time. And so I have to go plug it in and put it in my room with the door shut and go out, or it won't work. I won't read. And because I finally came to that, because I was like, if the book's good enough, I should read. And I'd just have both, and then my phone would buzz, or I'd be like, oh, I want to Google this, or anyway, I'm like, I just have to put it away. It's just not possible to do both for me. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I think like for kids, let's say they don't even have a phone. There's computers, there's iPads, there's Nintendo, and my kids have all those things, TV, and not that I let them go rampant on it, but they have them. And when you have that as a comparison to a book, it's really hard to be excited. So my kids wouldn't read unless I made them, and so I'm like, so that, I guess that's like points for homeschooling. That's one of the nice things, is I have eyes on them all the time. That's one of the downsides of homeschooling too, because that can be bad for children. But I'm like, but I can recognize if they are not reading enough and require it, because they aren't going to require it of themselves. We don't even require it of ourselves. You know what I mean? Like as adults, we don't even make ourselves read when there's something more bright and shiny and distracting and stimulating. You know, this just makes me like feel ashamed for my week, because I'm in the middle of a book. I knew I should have finished it, and I was like, I'll just watch Columbo. I've been addicted to Columbo lately, and I'm like,
oh, that's funny. I need to start those again. I love
them so much. Like, I don't know why, like this time of life, I'm just like, oh, these are so good. I think because writing is so bad right now.
You're right.
That to revisit these old ones is so refreshing. I'm like, oh my gosh, back when they wrote and people could act, and like, and there's cheesy acting in there because it's the 60s, but it's so fun. Their outfits are fun, their cars are fun. I love it.
I need to watch it again. I love that movie. Or show. I've been reading. So I realized the genre that I love right now, anyway, is like children's classics. So like Peter Pan, Heidi, Tom Sawyer,
Secret Garden,
all the Mark Twains. So I'm reading Tom Sawyer right now, and oh my gosh, I love Mark Twain. I've never read him. Did you know that? Like I've never read.
So clever. He is right I've read like alley. He's so witty.
Oh my gosh, he's funny. I was like, I've read like quotes and stuff. Like that's Mark Twain that said that. I've never read his books, and I watched the movie, but I was like, oh my gosh, like I was giggling out loud, like all his little like quips, like his little things that he says, and like how he describes children and their mind process, like thought process is so funny. I was like, have you read it? Like as a mom of boys, because it's hilarious.
No, but I want.
Oh my gosh, I thought of you like the whole time.
I'll do that one next. Okay,
like,
we'll do that one
I don't know if like I know my kids wouldn't be able to follow it, at least right now. Like there's a lot of like old style writing that they'd be like, what?
So I read.
You do it anyway.
I learned this from the Twilight author. What's her name? Stephanie Meyer.
Yes.
which is not a great.
I know. I'm like judging you already. Sorry.
I know she is a very entertaining author, and she's published a book. So I'm like, there's something to be said. But anyway, she said that her dad never read children's books to her. He jumped straight to classics when she was like
cool.
8. Like he
that's
just would start reading like Pride and Prejudice to her, and she's like, and she said, I kind of had to just like listen to what I could get and then catch up. And she said, over time, that's all I want to read is just like the good stuff. Anyway, so part of our curriculum has become me reading a book that's way too advanced for them. So right now I'm reading White Fang to them, which honestly, even for me sometimes, like I gotta reread that sentence. Like it's very well written, and just anyway. But I can tell they get bored, so we read one chapter and that's it. And that's part of our like curriculum that day. Oh. Can you hear me? I'm probably talking too fast again.
I will whistle a tune while we wait for her to reconnect.
There you go.
Oh, hello. Yes.
Anyway, we don't get through the books fast. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't get through the books quickly, but it's exposing them to good literature that they... Now you can't hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. Now, am I there for real, for real?
Now I can't. Now I can. This is a fun game. We should play like a game.
So annoying.
Like a how many times do Natalie Mallory disconnect from their internet game?
And I know it's my internet. Like, it's driving me crazy.
Make a comment every time we disconnect and you'll get a reward.
Well, part of it too is that I'm like hiding in the hidey hole of my house. So
I know,
probably,
me too.
Like,
we both live in small towns and
Anyway, I like that they're getting exposed to it, even if they can't fully understand what's going on.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes. It does. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I was talking to a friend who's like, she's homeschooling and she's trying to get into the classics. She's like, I've never really read them, but I'm wanting to. And I was telling her that Les Mis was like one of my favorite books, and she was like, how did you get through it? And I'm like, well, first of all, I read the what do you call it, edited
abridged
version.
I have no
and second of all,
versions.
That one unabridged is like stupid to read. Just kidding.
Okay.
Like, what are you talking about? Why are you going off on that?
One of the styles of the writing of that time was to include full essays in your book, and that's what he does. So it's like, it's not meant to be part of the story, and that's not how we read now. We like stories. So I'm just like, I cannot read his essays.
I know what you're talking about. But anyway, so that's part of it. And then the other part is I was like, a long time ago, even when I was younger, I stopped caring about making sure every sentence sunk in. Like I was like, I'll get the overall, like if I didn't understand something that was written in Old English or something, I would just kind of keep reading, and like overall I'd figure it out. I'd look up, what certain words meant, and most of the time I just kind of keep reading and figure it out. And then when you reread it as you get older and gain more experience, you're like, oh, that makes sense now. And anyway, so I kind of think just like letting go of like, I have to understand everything they're saying, because you don't. You just kind of got to get the overall picture.
Just kind of like smudge through it. You know what I do that's really helpful too is I will read Spark Notes before I'll read a classic.
Oh.
So, because if I know, some people don't like spoilers, but I'm actually someone who, if I know something exciting is coming, or I can understand better why the whole plot is laid out the way it is, I can get through all the weird writing, and it totally makes sense.
I'm with you, especially if it's an author like Charles Dickens or someone who's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to understand.
It's really hard for me.
It's hard to understand where he's going with stuff. Unless, I picked up a book called The Pickwick Papers. I think it was one of his first ones. Anyway, and I was just, I didn't know what was going on. I was so confused. I looked up the Spark Notes, and it was like basically about a bunch of men who travel the world and judge people. And I was like, perfect. So I kept reading it, but then I got bored, and I was like, I just don't care about this. Like, there's not really plot, and like, anyway.
He's really, like, all of his books are hard for me to be interested in. I don't know why.
Hey, but he wrote what's that one that Mom loves, the movie? Great Expectations. Tale of Two Cities, Oliver Twist. Like, I was like, these are huge classics that I've never read. And so Mom gave me, you're gonna get mad, but she gave me, you remember those children's classics that we had when we were little? She gave me all of them. So I have like 40. I know. Anyway, but I'm excited because I want to start reading to my girls, but I was like hesitating because I was like, they're not going to get it. But you're inspiring me to be like, okay, just push through it, and we'll
push through. Anyway. It's more about like how much time you make them sit through that. You know what I mean? If it's just like 15 minutes. Who cares if they don't understand
and
it?
a lot of times too, when I read them a book like Harry Potter, I love, so I'm like, we're reading this and you're gonna love it. If I'll read something that I know they didn't grasp, I'm like, okay, so Snape is basically doing this, and then they'll be like, okay, and like anyway.
That's how we read the scriptures. Is I'll read them and then I'll be like, do you understand what's going on? And sometimes they do, and sometimes they're like, no. So then we stop and explain, and then keep going. Yeah, it's
you're right. Don't dumb things down. It makes me want to be better with scriptures too, because I've been doing like Friend magazine because it's easy and like I don't have to.
You have really little kids though. I have an 11. You know what I mean? So
well, I mean Charlie's definitely old enough for scriptures. It's just like Ellie combined with Brinley combined with Charlie. I'm just like, it's so hard to get anything in.
Yeah.
So but
your expectations are probably too high. Because I only read for 10 minutes from the Book of Mormon. Like, that's it.
Well, me too. So, I mean, we read one Friend article, and I'm like, yay. Sometimes I'll read, like, a scripture that goes with it so that we're still reading from the scriptures. Yeah. But, anyway. Yeah.
So I did get a really good... You want me to tell you my scripture system? Because it's kind of awesome. I honed it in. So...
I sure do.
Okay, so I let the kids pick their favorite stickers. Like, I don't even... Scotty picked unicorns, and the boys picked dragons. And they're $6 for, like, 200 on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And when they run out, I let them pick a theme again. Like last time was Pokemon. And this,
So
then we keep those on hand. And then each of them has their own little notebook. And while I read, they have their scriptures out in front of them and a notebook. And they have to draw while I just sit there and read to them. And they kind of try and grasp like the concepts that we're reading. I try and explain it, whatever. Sometimes Declan draws like a clown and it has nothing to do with scriptures. And I'm like, whatever.
I used to do that. And they kind of grasp more than you think through drawing.
They do. And not just that,
I'm not wearing clothing.
It's fine. I'm more concerned that they're like... I'm more concerned that they're sitting there listening, and because that's the only way they are going to get something from it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I have them color, and then after like 10 minutes of reading, it's not very long, then they get a sticker if they participated, because sometimes they like will sit there and be like, I don't want to color, rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, that's fine, just no sticker today. And they all kind of were like, well,
but
guys,
a sticker is worth everything.
It's totally worth, even for Roman, who's 11. Like, she's like, worth
what is it about stickers? I know.
I don't know. Funny. And those ones are cool because they're like, they pick them themselves, and they're really like, the dragon ones are freaking sweet. Like, they're just, I don't know. Amazon just has good deals on good stickers.
Yes.
So anyway, that's been great. And then lowering my expectations of like how long, because we'll just read. We have that big Book of Mormon, the family ones that are like have the explanations at the bottom. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're like this big.
We have those too.
Anyway, they have little sub chapters in the chapters where it's like, that's how much we read. It's like 6 verses or something.
Yes,
and then I'm like, okay, we're done. Now that my kids are older, I've had them also like, we'll popcorn read, like, Roman, read 2 verses, and then I'll read 7, and then Jane read 1, and then they'll color when it's not their turn. Anyway, it's been very effective. They sit through it. They know the system. They know they get a sticker. If they don't feel like coloring, they just don't get a sticker. Anyway,
totally doing that.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah, it's been good. And it's, they're getting something out of it. Not everything, something.
Yeah. Anyway, I was going to tell you something. Can we just call this the time of month podcast, because I didn't ask you any of the questions and I almost have to go.
I know.
No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I was talking to you. But if we just have time of month, then we can do whatever we want. So,
which we do anyway. I don't know why we even try and theme these. This one's called Reading to Your Children. It's like one little section of it.
I know. I never know what to title it because it's like one section. I feel like clickbait, and they're like, "That's not even in this video." I'm like, I know, it's going to be talked about everything. I just wanted to say on here, remember those lash or mascara that you told me about?
Yeah,
it's amazing, and I love it. And it's right here.
I know. Put it up so they can see it like this, but for real,
But I'm holding my mic, so I can't do it. Wait, you really want me to do the?
Yeah, because you can't tell what it is.
You still can't see
there
it.
You go. It's like the Falsies Lash Lift.
Falsies Lash Lift, Maybelline. Yeah. Anyway, I got the brown black, which I'm kind of regretting. I wish I just got the black because that's what I usually get. Anyway, but it's what I found out is like the secret to like a natural look is like a crap ton of mascara. So like, the secret to look natural is to wear a crap ton of makeup. But
it's to cake on the makeup.
Well, like not a lot, but you know, like a lot of different types. Like you're using BB cream and concealer and powder and bronzer and anyway. But the mascara, because I would do like a natural look and do like one swipe and be like, I just don't look that good. But I do like 4 layers and I'm like, oh, okay. So now I like it.
Super buildable. That's why that's
it
such
is.
a good.
Yeah, I like
without flaking and clumping. It is.
Yeah,
it's hard not to clump, at least on mine. But it's like so buildable that I love it. I've started doing my mascara too. Like, you know, people are putting like just a tiny bit of falsies on the outside, which I think looks weird, but still, they'll do that for like a better look. I've started just doing my mascara there, and it looks a lot better when I've actually like got it done and layered on. When I do it on the inside, it looks like I have lashes, but it just makes my eyes look tiny. Yeah, so I'm like, it just looks really good to like really do like lots of layers right out here and right here, and then the inside on the side.
Yes, I love the look of like, it looks like you're just wearing like mascara and lip gloss, even though you're wearing a lot of stuff. It just looks like you're only wearing that. That's like my favorite look, because I was trying to move away from like a giant wing, because I've been doing a wing forever, and I'm like, I don't know. It's not that I don't like it. It's just certain scenarios. I'm like, I don't want to like always see wings.
Yeah, you want to like feel like you don't have makeup on, even if you do. But
look effortless. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. This is a good point that you make about mascara, though, because I try to do the no makeup look, and then I always am like, I just look ugly with no makeup. So
yeah, exactly. Me too. I don't like it either. I'm like, I would just look better with a lot or nothing. So but if you wear a lot of mascara, it works. So
okay, good to know.
And I don't have good eyelashes, so that's the other thing. Is like, I thought you just had to have beautiful eyelashes to make that look good, but I don't have good eyelashes. It's just you need a lot of mascara.
And a specific type too, because I went and bought some at like the Family Dollar, because I went on this kick of like, everyone's trying to screw me, I'm just gonna go and get the cheap stuff, and
I know what you mean.
And then it was like literally flaking off. Like, I don't know what they put in that crap. It was so bad. And honestly, not that much cheaper than that kind. Like, I know. It's just where you buy it.
Well, and so and that kind will always transfer onto my eyelids. So like by the end of the day, it's like got this big black streak, and it's super annoying. And
it's not waterproof at all. It's bad, but that kind's amazing.
I will say, like the cheapest. Go out, please. No, not right now. I want to look at it. Okay, but I'll look at it when we're done. They're painting their crafts that I let them use.
Oh, that's cute. I just need to show you this moment.
Yeah, just right here.
Look at
it. What was I saying? Mascara. Can't remember.
Mascara.
Don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah.
I wanted to rant about this random thing that was bugging me. Do you want me to tell you? Okay. Here I was driving to dance class, and I was late, and I was behind this truck, and these like back Missouri roads are like, you can't pass anybody for miles. It's just like double
it's always twisting.
Anyway,
always a hill
behind this truck that was going exactly the speed limit, which is my pet peeve anyway. But then they were like,
how dare they follow?
They were like, oh, it makes me crazy. I'm like, either go under or over. You go exact, you're a communist.
So weird.
It was like driving one of those jacked up trucks, like way jacked up, to where it's like, I'm bigger and better than all of you. I'm like, if you're gonna be bigger and better, you better go faster. Like, that's annoying.
Obviously, you have little man syndrome.
So mad. I was like, oh, if it was any other car. I always get road rage too when I'm late for dance.
I do too.
So I'm like, it's everyone's fault that I'm late, not that I didn't get out fast enough.
I know.
There's something about like getting the kids' shoes on and like gathering all the sippies and stuff that takes like freaking 45 minutes. I don't understand why. It's weird, because the other day I was like, I had gathered all their stuff already. Like they had their shoes, I had everything in the van. Anyway, and then we didn't have to go for 20 minutes. So, but when it was actually time to go, I was out the door in 2 minutes, and I was like, okay, so it's like, it's not actually getting out, it's the gathering of the shoes and the diaper bags.
Yeah, they never know where their crap is, at least my kids know. And so then annoying. If they do, then they have an issue with like, I don't want to wear the white shoes, and then like, I don't know. This is like so many people with so many opinions trying to make something happen in 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
But I have learned that one of my mom tricks, you probably already know this, every mom knows this, but I will literally gather everything, like shoes, socks, whatever we need, and throw it in the van, and then and then get there, and then send my kid in who's late, and then do all their shoes out in the car and stuff. And yeah,
that is a mom hack.
It does save you a lot of time.
Just throw it all in there.
I really do. I'll just be like, I don't care, grab all your stuff and get in the car and we're going. And then, because what I really want, my goal is to get that child there. I can follow them in 10 minutes, you know,
you're
as
right.
long as I'm at the facility.
You're
so anyway.
right, Carmen. Okay. Yeah. What was I going to say? Okay, well, like, if there was like a hidden camera too, you'd just be laughing, like, this is why you're late. Because like my 3-year-old will do this. She has this like OCD of like, there's something in my shoe. And like, I have to straight up lie. I lie to her. I'll be like, no, mommy, check. There's nothing in there. Because she will like freak out until I take it off, take her sock off and make sure there's nothing in her shoe. It makes me crazy. Like after we've already got everyone all ready, she's like, there's something. And she'll just like freak out until you get it out. And I can ignore her, or I could just like do it and get it out. And
or I can just lie to her.
Or I lie to her. Yeah, that's what I really do. So, anyway, so then that happens, and then Jackson will take his off because he thinks it's funny, and then my older girls who, like, if they misbehave, I'm like, oh, you're old enough to not do this, like, they'll come with, like, 2 different shoes, they'll be like, look, Mom, and I'm like, that is so not funny. Anyway.
Kids cannot, well, they can read the room, they read chaos, and then they add
Yes! I know, they're like, how can I make her more mad?
Yesterday we had like 700 kids at our house, and Augie like
100.
We really, Mal, it was so funny. I was like the kidnapper van of Panaca. So we went to. I should just tell you this scenario because looking back, I'm like, why the heck did I do that?
I know.
It was so fun. Like it was so cute, but it was batshit crazy. Anyway, we went to the park, and my boys were playing with all their friends, and they had already had friends at their house, and then their other friend asked to come play. So I was like, you guys all go there, and then I'll come pick you up, you know, and you can come back to the house, whatever.
Yeah.
So the point of that is that they were kind of like, okay, we'll go. We're already with our friends, but it'll be fun. You know, kind of like, whatever. Yeah. But then once they get there, they're like, Mom, we love these friends so much. We never want to leave, you know, and that's how they always are.
Yeah.
And so they're like, can they all come to our house? And I was like,
why not?
It's Friday.
What could go wrong?
So I was like, sure. So they literally, let me count how many kids we had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I had 12 extra boys at my house yesterday. Extra. Yeah. And what's so funny is like they'd pile in, and then more kids would like look at the van and be like, well, where are you guys going? Like that looks like a party.
So cute.
And I know, and I was like, well, do you want me to text your mom? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, jump in. And so like we literally were weighing the van down. That's how many kids were there.
That's so cute.
And then I started freaking out because I was like, I don't have any. It was almost dinner time. It was like 4:00, and I was like, I have nothing to feed these kids. So I was like, we're going to the store. So we grabbed like pizza and root beer and cookies and just like went home, turned into this huge party.
Oh,
and
that's cute.
It was so cute. I was like, I freaking love Panaca. It was chaos even for me. I was like, oh, this is a lot. And I kept having to be like, go outside. You're not allowed in here.
Yeah,
you know? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, there's too many of you to talk to me. Go away.
There's kind of a point, like, when it's past chaos, too, that I thrive, too. I think it's our childhood. But, like, when it's, like, really there's chaos and there's, like, just beyond chaos, then that's when I'm like, yeah, this is where I thrive.
This is it. This is my jam. I think like there's a pride in it too that I can like function under that. I feel very accomplished.
You mellow out. Yeah, I like people like freak out when they're like, oh, I'm sorry that we have so many people. Like, because I'll host like 3 families and their house is tiny. I'm like, no, I love this. Like, this is where I thrive. I like cooking for a massive group, and I just said I don't like hosting, but I do, especially for family and stuff. But,
I think if like the pressure's on you to be like the social elite, that's what's scary. But if like everyone's just at your house and you can go behind the scenes and clean and feed them, and like I love that too. I'm like, I seriously think I could have 12 kids and survive. I know. I've always thought that too. I could like do all the things I want to do too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I'm always like, man, maybe I should have like a buttload of kids because this is like my jam. But then I look around and I'm like, where's Corey? He's like hiding under a rock.
I know, he's like rocking in the corner.
Yeah.
You're like, maybe not.
I keep asking him, I'm like, when you come home to like everyone in the county's kids at our house, does it upset you? Like, are you okay? And he's like, no, I'm fine. He just like goes and hides. And I'm like, all right.
That's all right.
Yeah.
This is working out fine.
See you in a couple hours. Yeah.
I had this like friend that I was trying to make one time, and she was like, I don't know, when you're raised in a small town, you just do things that are small townish. So I was like, just throw your kid in, I'll bring him home. And she's like, but he doesn't have his grade car seat buckled to the van. And I was like, and it's not like anchored. And I was like, we'll never be friends.
Yeah. You're like, this just totally stopped our friendship.
I'm kidding. That's not true.
For the sake of our listeners, our kids are always in seatbelts and we abide by all laws.
We do. And we never speed. We go the speed limit. Exactly.
Yep. All the things. So there have been no admissions here that haven't been countered. So take that. That's a good question. I don't know what the law is there at all. Yeah. Now I'm going to
I doubt it. But...
Time
to confess.
Like, I highly doubt they'd spend the time on it, but, like, let's say you were very influential and you were bragging about it and other people were, like, being influenced by that. I'm curious if that wouldn't be worth coming after you.
You could get in trouble.
Yeah. Because I actually am, like, a huge proponent of, I'm that lady who drives you crazy because...
you go exactly the speed limit.
I do, and like, no, obviously not. Like, in town, if I'm in a hurry or something, I'll go, like, 5 over. But... yeah. But I watched this thing one time that was like, here's the reason that cops like, or that the government puts like the speed limits where they are. It's like, it's thought out for the most part. Some things are a little weird, you know, you're like, back and change. Mostly it's thought out. And they're like, here's how much time you shave off going 10 over. Here's how much time you shave off going. It is like, it's nothing. It's like chump change. And so then I'm like, so then they talk about like, here's the risk versus the reward. And it sunk in. I was like, okay, you're right. Like, I am literally gaining 1 minute and risking so much, like, to me. And so I'm like, and there are situations where I'm like, this speed limit has not been updated for 75 years. 100%.
Pedal to the metal.
Fast right here. Yeah, you're just wrong. But for the most part, I actually think you're not gaining very much by speeding. So I'm like,
here's the thing, though.
It just makes you feel better.
No, every time Chancey drives, he gets us there faster.
Shoot, you're breaking
like somehow like 15 minutes faster. I'm like, how did you do that? He's like, I don't know. Are you still there?
Hello.
I can see you moving. Yes.
Okay. Tell that story again. For some reason, it was like.
Oh, okay. One more time, just in case I wasn't listening.
One more.
I can't remember anything I said. I said Chancey. I was like, well, here's the thing: is like Chancey gets us there like 15 minutes faster every time we go somewhere. So I'm like, how did you do that? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's true. There's truth to that. But Chancey is like a psycho speedster. Like, there's like.
He is indeed.
Yeah, there's like 5 over, and then I guess that's true if you're willing to go like way over. And if the difference between being on time for dance and being 5 minutes late is a big difference, like, and I've done that. You're like, I have to be there right on time, and this is going to shave off 1 significant minute. I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me. But when it's like, I don't know, like, oh, I'm going to the movies and I'm just going to be 5 minutes earlier. It's like, why would you speak for that?
I do always think it's weird when someone will like they get impatient, so they'll like cut you off and then they freaking exit like right after they cut you off, and then you exit and they're like 1 car in front of you in the light. That's what happened. Risking all your lives is like they're 1 car in front of you at the light, and I'm like, you almost killed all of us for this. It's so stupid.
Yeah, just to be
you're in front. Good job.
Yeah. There's this kind of like societal thing too that I'm trying to understand. There's some truth to it. But anyway, if you're like a speedster, you're kind of cool. Like, you're someone who doesn't really follow the rules and you
question authority.
Like, you're fun and you're edgy and like, oh yeah, I speed all the time. Like, I don't know what it is, but people consistently brag about their speeding and like the tickets they get and like it's.
Oh, that's funny.
You'll never.
I didn't know it was like a bragging point. That's funny.
It is. It's like a bragging thing. It's like I'm like, what is it? I'm blah.
I'm wild.
Yeah.
I have heard of like
It's a way of signaling that you're kind of like
you're
an
so
edgy,
right. Yeah,
cool
I've
person.
seen
Yeah.
that before. That's
Yeah.
funny because that's funny.
But what's interesting about it, so the reason I bring that up is because Corey like always drives the exact speed limit, which is hilarious.
Cutting out again.
Oh shoot.
Corey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it still choppy or is it good?
I can hear you.
Okay. So he'll drive like the exact speed limit and then when he brings it up, he always gets crap for it. Like, oh, you're such a like automatically you're a loser for driving the speed limit if you're a man. Like
I
you're not
know.
someone who likes to take
I know.
risks. But what's funny is like the assumptions they make about him are right. Like he doesn't like risk and he is careful and but for whatever reason in man world, probably because they are out there having to like butt heads and stuff, that's not cool. Like it's not cool to be that guy. And it's so
Here's
funny
the thing
like,
though.
it's not that big a deal to
I drive on a freeway like every day because we live right by a major freeway. And I will say that there is like a little part of me that's just like I just want to like win all the cars. Like it's like like if you like pass enough people, you're like if I go 5 over, it's kind of annoying because it's not like I don't know, it's an annoying speed because you have to pass certain people, but you get past, and so I'm like it's just better to just win everybody, and so then you like just try and like win, and it's kind of
just
fun.
get away from like the mosh pit.
But so at the same time, like I can see how men with testosterone and stuff are like I must win, and Chancey's definitely like that. He's like constantly anyway.
So Corey gets that way. Yeah, it's just not his MO, I guess. Yeah.
What's funny is I've gotten more speeding tickets than Chancey, and he is like definitely the risk taker. Like I didn't do it on purpose. Every time I did it, it was because it was like I was way distracted with my kids.
Random time.
Like,
I know. It's always the moms. I know.
They're so mean. If I were a cop and I saw moms, I'd be like, you know what? Thanks for what you do for our society. Go and live your life.
The like smile at the cop and get away with it thing is so past. Like it's become such a trope now that they're like, because you're pretty, you get an extra ticket.
Just for smiling. One time I cried.
Manipulate this out of me, you loser.
I cried and I got out, but that was real tears. And that's because I was like 2 days postpartum, and I was like, please don't do this to me.
That's freaking hilarious.
And he was like, I was so emotional and not sleeping, and like I was late, like 15 minutes.
Cry. That's a great time to pull
it was weird. I was like, wow. And he was like, okay, just drive safer. And I was like, okay.
I'm sorry, sir. I know.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
I got pulled over once and it was in town and I just looked like a scared rabbit and he was like, yeah, just don't do that anymore. And I'm like,
stop it.
Okay. Yeah. I do have this like huge vendetta against cops that go after moms. They would like
I know.
maybe they had a reason for it that they knew more than me because they watch things better. But here in town, I think fatal accidents in town are literally our town is 100 years old now. I think literally 0. Like that's not a joke. And so I'm like, knock on wood, obviously, but I'm like, why? They would go and park at the school and then pull over the moms who didn't buckle their kids. They were on this like theme to like get the moms to buckle.
I think they're bored.
If you're going on a fast road. Yeah, but I was like, seriously, of all the people you could target in the county, you're going after moms? Like, that's so messed up. It drove me crazy. I was like, what are you doing? Anyway, and we have a free or a highway that runs right down our main road, and we have out-of-towners that drive that. It's 25 miles an hour. There are little kids that cross that road and stuff. There are out-of-towners who will drive that at like 60 sometimes. And it pisses me off so much. And I'm like, you could literally post up here all day, write as many tickets as you wanted. Nobody would know you. It's not like you're ticketing your friends. They're all from out of town.
Yeah.
And they could hate you all they wanted, and you would be like, sweet, I'm never going to see you again. You're just passing through our random town.
You're like, let me show you how to get tickets, you ding dong.
You could write so many. I'm just like, why? Why are we sitting right here at the elementary school? Anyway, I don't know. Maybe they
moms are an easy target because they're not going to argue. Probably.
I don't know. I think maybe they might have certain quotas too. Like you have to get so many highway tickets and then so many in town. I don't really know, but I did not understand the motivation for that one. I'll have to talk to an actual cop because they'd probably put me straight. But what is going on?
They must have a quota.
Well, I think they do have quotas, which kind of makes sense because then you'd have cops who are like never writing tickets to get people off, and like there could be some corruption there if they didn't have numbers they had to meet, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I just feel like just do it right.
I mean, how do you get people to do that?
Here's the rule I live by, and so far I've been good, but it's like 9 you're fine, 10 you're mine. That's with cops. So
yeah.
It
depends on where you are.
I know.
Kenzie got pulled over for going 1 over.
So did my mother-in-law. 1 over. Yeah. What? He was like, you have any idea how fast you're going? She's like, the speed limit. And he's like, no, you were going 71. He like literally wrote her a ticket. I was like, wow.
Do you have any idea how fast you're going, ma'am?
I was thinking like the speed limit, but I don't know.
But sorry, I sneezed and I went 71. My bad. So
at that point, you're just messing with people. Like, that's weird.
Is really weird. I'm like, and really, there wasn't like 17 people who were going at least 5 over,
right? You were actually going random. 2.5.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need you to slow it down.
You are a hazard to society. That's so funny. That weirds me out when they do that. But maybe they're just like maybe they have like a secret code. They're like, I pulled a 1 over again today.
I know, they go back to their bros and they like laugh about it over beer or something. Like,
I know. Maybe.
Like, she didn't see it coming. She was 60 years old. And
I love how we're like evil cops.
That's what they do. Okay, I will say though, like I don't know where I was. I think it was like with sisters, and they were like, "Are you like running from the law? Like, what is your?" Every time I see a cop, I get like legit anxiety. I'm like, "There's a cop. Everyone buckled. Everyone obeying the law. Like, look innocent. Don't make eye contact." You stoning drugs? Like, what is going on? I don't know. I just want to panic. I mean, if they pull me over,
Mom and Dad would be like, "Hit the deck."
So, it's like childhood because like someone's on the roof or something. Like everyone's everywhere, and they're like,
Mom and Dad were always like a Mexican human trafficking cartel, like with their giant van and like way too many people and nobody's buckled. And every time we pass a cop, we have to hit the deck. I'm like, you might as well have been like traffickers. For my kids, and
I put that fear in my kids too, because every time I see a cop, they'll duck even if they're buckled.
Oh,
like, you have to duck. Like, and if there's like friends in the car, they're like, "What are you teaching kids?"
I know. That's why I got pulled over that one time. I did deserve it. Yeah. My kids hit the deck, and he's like, "So it's worse if you try and hide." I'm like, "I didn't tell him to." Yeah, it was so embarrassing. I was like,
"If you try and hide?"
Yeah, I was like, "Thank you, officer."
That's good to know. I will note that because I do try and hide every time.
He 100% saw them like go boom, and I was like, "Yeah, there's nothing I could do about it."
Yeah. So. Sorry.
Well, and not like I'm a proponent for seatbelts in the right setting, but literally too. The elementary school was here. Yeah. Our house was across the road. So that sounds stupid that I even drove, but it was far enough that I was like, do I want to get my baby in a stroller and get him all bundled up, whatever. Yeah. So it was easier to throw him in the car. Yeah. So I'd have to put my kid in the car, drive across Main Street, and then we were home. And I was like, you really want me to buckle them in their car seats for that? Like,
no, I definitely buckle when we're going fast. It's just like when we're in town and it's like speed limit 25. I'm like, just stop.
I was driving less than a block. I was like, I get it for lots of settings, but like this, I could be driving like a scooter to pick them up on. Like, this is ridiculous.
I know. There are people that will do the parent pickup line at their old elementary school that will ride a side by side. They're like picking up their kids. I'm like, I love this place. It's so cute.
I love that. Anyway. That is so cute. I want a golf cart really bad, so my kids can drive.
That would be cute. I like golf carts.
They're not like so pricey either if they're slow. I like it.
Yeah.
They're kind of cracking down on kids on things here though.
Stuff, yeah. They're kind of doing that too. Why is it all of our like time of month ones that's like I regret everything I've ever said? We always buckle our kids. It's just sometimes cops are biased to us because we're moms. And
we're hot. I don't really think that. I'm just joking because of our earlier comment.
Oh my gosh. On that note, I gotta go.
I probably need to too. It was just a joke. I don't really think that for everyone listening. I was just I was just being stupid. That mom is like in a total lawsuit right now because they
That was
didn't tell you that.
insane.
They tried to get her
Yeah,
to sign that
that
thing.
was
I'm like,
insane.
she's so cool. She's like, heck no, I'm not signing
No, I'm
that.
not signing that. And all stories that we have heard about of our ancestors before laws got made, and we changed the names to protect the innocent.
Statute of limitations. We can talk about mom and dad, but we can't talk about us.
The law, stay in school. We don't put our kids in school, and we don't obey the law.
We don't. The thing is I'm like, if you can drive a go-kart on the same road you can drive on, that's a good rule to just relax a little on the seatbelts. You know what I mean? Like it makes no sense that my friends' kids can drive down the road in a seatbeltless go-kart where they're all hanging out the sides and no one stops them. But my kids can't be in an enclosed vehicle doing the same thing where they're literally safer. And I will get in trouble. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, where do you draw that fuzzy little line? So
yeah, fuzzy. Okay. I need to go, so I'm gonna go.
I hate it when you need to go. We just got started.
We just got started. I actually could, like, if I pulled out these questions, we'd be here forever. But I told Chancey it'd only be an hour and a half, and it's been 2, so I probably need to go.
That's a long time. Okay, we're good.
Oh, that's a long time. Okay.
I didn't realize it'd been 2 hours.
Oh, it's only been an hour 40. Look at that. We still got 20 minutes.
Now you lied.
Well, we meant to start at 8, but apparently we didn't start it till 8:20. So
you owe me 15 minutes because we started late. So
okay. Do you want me to ask you deep questions in 15 minutes?
Yeah, do it.
Oh, okay. I'm literally cutting you off in 15 minutes.
Okay, done.
Okay. I'm gonna be like, stop your deepness right now. Okay. Question 1. If money and status were no object, what would you do?
Meaning I had limitless status and money?
No. It means like if you didn't care about either of those, what would you do?
I don't care about either of those. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. BS.
I love money. That's kind of a weird question because that's kind of my lifestyle. Like, I don't mean to, but like, I don't have status or money, so I'd live exactly like I'm living.
I guess I do. I guess what it's saying is like if you're dreaming, if you could do anything, like money was like you.
Money's not an object, so I can do anything because money's not holding me back.
Right, and status isn't like you're not like doing it because you want to move up in
so
status.
I have limitless resources and I don't care what people think. That's the question?
Yes.
Okay. What would I do? I already know I would just travel the world. I don't know what that has to do with status, but that is what I would do with money.
Well, you might not care about status, and I actually do. So that was a deep question for me. But you probably don't care about status. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, that literally does not signify. Maybe I care. Maybe I just don't know. Well,
like, for me, like, my ambition, what I realize is, like, most of it is based on status. Like, I'm like, when I get threatened by people, it's because they have a degree, or they can say that they're a professor, or, like, it's always, like, this, like, oh, I can do this,
hierarchy.
or I can, I bought this many complexes, or like it's just like I know it's vain, it's the truth. It's just I really am driven by status.
People less as soon as they
bring rude because I just said that's what I do.
No, but like when people bring it up, you know, like they like slip in that they have something that other people don't have. I'm like, I don't even. Don't care to say after that.
I know, and it's not like it's weird because like even if I got them, it's not. I'd be like, it's Doctor Who, like, but it's not like I'm.
You mean? Okay, you mean hierarchy. Like, you don't mean if Chancey got rich and made you a trophy wife, that gives you status. You mean your accomplishments matter. That's different than status. Because status can be achieved by being, like, the world's best prostitute or something. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that was an exaggeration. I mean, like, trophy wives are, like, kind of like prostitutes. They're like, I'm going to buy you. You give me sex, and I'll give you money.
Works out. We've got this.
Yeah, works out. But I'm like,
it's just like accomplishments.
You mean accomplishments. Okay.
Well, and I was talking about this with Chancey too, and he's like, I don't think you have to like cut out pride altogether, like in accomplishments. Like, you know, like if you feel pride in what you've done, you're doing it wrong. Like he's like, I think it's good to have that. I just think if you're driven entirely by what people think of you, that's when it's a problem.
That's the problem, because I think all of that comes down to self-validation. If no one else was around you and you still felt proud of yourself, that's good pride. If nobody said boo to you for becoming a doctor and that bothered you, that's probably a problem.
I think probably it's a little bit of both for me. Like I think that I would feel self-pride, but also like but I want to be like, super accomplished.
I want to be able to flex it a little. That's interesting. Well, that might be a childhood trauma, like always trying to clamor, in a big family. You're just like, be nice to
clamor
like
to
have
the
some
top.
status. Yeah.
Well, I think honestly, I think it's because I'm a stay-at-home mom and I've just had such a hard time even admitting that to myself. I know that's like sad, but it's just hard for me to be like, it's what it's like. I find myself still embarrassed to tell people what I do, and like,
oh, that's funny.
I get threatened by people who like seem to have it all, like super moms do it all, and I'm like, how do you do that? How do you have a degree and work full time and have kids? Like, I'm so like, I just wish I could do all that, and like,
you could do all that.
No, I know, and I've seen that close up, and I know they actually don't have it all. It just looks like they do.
No one ever does. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I'm just being like vulnerable. This is what I
you're
feel
being real.
like
That's something that actually weighs with you. I'm curious why. Like, I'm curious why. What you would gain in internally. What do you gain eternally from that mindset, Mallory?
Eternal perspective.
Internally, what do you gain internally by being able? By having people know, like, are you attracted to power? Like, you like to be powerful? Like,
I think
you walk
like when I think of like when I like daydream about like I don't know, like ideal situations. Yeah, it's like me owning this massive company and like wearing a business suit, and everyone has to listen to me.
And people knowing that you do. That's fascinating.
Isn't that weird? I know, because I'm like introverted and I'm like a stay-at-home mom and I like don't host parties, but I'm like also I want to be a CEO of like,
I think you could. I think maybe that tracks because you feel a lot of capability inside of you, but people maybe don't listen to you, and that's frustrating. Like, maybe it's that frustrating.
I think I see people's like almost like disrespect a little bit when they find out what you do, and like it's frustrating. I mean, in Mormonville in Utah and stuff, it's very common, but when you live anywhere else, like I'm pretty rare. I mean, obviously in the church I'm not, but like outside the church, like there's not very many people that just stay home who are educated and have other options. Like, it's kind of like you do it because either your husband brainwashed you or your church, or you're not educated and you don't know what else to do. And
you don't
so
like
it's
people
like
having that misconception about you.
It bothers me. Yeah, it really bothers me.
You're an interesting little creature. I
know. It's pride. I know it is, but
no, I think we all have like, I'm trying to think of, I definitely have very prideful areas, but I need a good question to be able to admit it because I don't know what it is. I know it's there.
Well, I think this probably just isn't it for you, but for me, it's
not.
Yeah.
But it makes me question.
I've always been driven by status more than money, like even more than money. I'm like, I just need to like own something massive and show everyone that I can do it.
See, that's what it really is. It sounds like you're like, I want to step on people's throats, but that's not what it is. It's like, I'm sick of being underestimated. That's what it sounds like.
That's exactly what it is. It's frustrating because
very reasonable.
Mostly because I like purposely have put myself in this like underestimated position my whole life with my personality. So I've just like I let people think that I'm uneducated and shy and sweet because I'm like, it's easier. So it bothers me that I've let that persona come forth when it's not true. And so I think I'm constantly trying to prove like, but you don't know what's underneath there, like I have this like crazy that's not let out, but
anyway. And you need them to know that. So that's what I'm hearing more than like you're a like power hungry psycho, is like you're sick of people looking at you and making assumptions that are completely opposite of true.
But it's my fault. I know it is. Like it's just hard for me to show. No, it's not
entirely your fault. There's 100% a disrespect for stay-at-home moms. Like, that's without question.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I have friends who feel the opposite as well. They're like, well, everyone looks at me like I'm a bad mom because I work. And I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. Like, your insecurity is that everyone is thinking you're a bad mom. My insecurity is everyone thinks I'm a dodo who just stays home. So we're all going to have them. Like,
you're right. You're right. Yeah. And you're right, because all this working moms I know do feel super guilty, and I'm like, I think you're like superwoman.
Yeah, they feel judged, and I'm like, I don't even think about that. If anything, I'm intimidated by you, you know? But their intimidation comes from
their insecurity.
their insecurity of like, am I as good a mom as you? Because I don't stay home. I'm like, yeah.
Yes. And I'm trying, I think that's part of my problem with homeschool too, is I'm really trying to be okay with just raising my kids, and like that's what I do. I just have a hard time. I have a really hard time with it. So anyway, and not that I'm like, but I'll just give up and never do it. Like I'm actually like working on creating stuff. I just it's, I don't know. It's hard for me to put myself out there, and so I just fight this battle all the time with this like crazy like power hungry CEO and this like shy stay-at-home mom. They're like on my shoulders.
So. I think like you call yourself shy and just a stay-at-home mom, and I'm like, I don't really think of you as shy. I think of you as reserved. There's a big difference. And you're not like a just stay-at-home mom. Like you are a super mom. So I'm like, that's, as far as whatever field you've chosen, which right now is motherhood, you're shining in it. So I think to me that proves that even if you were out in the workforce, you'd shine there too. You know, like you're very driven. So that's fascinating that it really is people underestimating you.
It is. It is. And what bothers me about it is I look at other stay-at-home moms and I admire them so much. Like I'm like, that is beautiful. I love looking at it. And when I think of me going to like a 9 to 5, I'm like, that's not it. That's not what it's not like I'd be like, now I'm living my empowered life. It's like, that's, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but
no, I think what you're saying is like, you don't disrespect the industry itself. You hate the way people look at you because you're part of it.
Yeah.
Because
what's annoying,
aren't you?
What's annoying to me, is if I were a teacher or a nurse or a whatever field, they would kind of look at you like, oh, okay, now you're not stuck at home and like you can do something else. And like I get really triggered by like I watched this movie and like the lady was like, I got my GED and so now I don't have to do housework. And I'm like, and like, because she's like a stay-at-home mom, but like she was stupid, and now that she's not stupid, she can leave that stupid job. And I'm like, that just really bothers me. And I know, like, I don't know, I just get really
I think we
bugged by
all
stuff
have
like
our
that.
things. I'm like, I'm really curious what mine is. I have a weird, definitely not in all areas, but for some reason, I don't know. I don't like it, but part of me kind of likes it when people like underestimate me or like, or it's like I have a secret. Like when they're like, "Oh, you're just stay-at-home mom," then I'm like, "Yeah." Like I don't know. Like go ahead and think I'm stupid. I'm way smarter than you. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know why it's like it's almost fun to be underestimated when you know you're right. I guess. Like
I know what you mean. I'm like that in some ways. For this one, it's not. But I know what you mean.
Well, and I don't mean that like I know I'm right, but I know this is right for me. So if
I guess what I haven't concluded is I don't know if this is right for me.
That's a good conclusion.
And I think
like, you're really confident in things, you know what you're doing.
Yes, like, I think being a stay-at-home mom, I'm confident in. I know I am, because I have had the option and actually thought about, could I do something else? And Chancey's like actually supportive, like, yeah, you could go work and that's fine. We'll figure it out. I don't want to do that. This is what I want to do. But I think when it comes to homeschool, I'm like, you're really committing there, and it's it's just hard for me to.
Maybe like respect is something that you crave, like deep down, like not in a gross way. Like I just need everyone to bow to me, but like you have like a hole there for some reason. Like and so when you're disrespected, it hurts extra. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I think I'm just constantly underestimated, but it's my fault. And I do stuff like I'll shy away from responsibility, and like in church, for example, I've never had like a responsible calling ever, and I'm not even mad about it, because I've always just been like, oh, like I'll just play the piano, or I'll just be the librarian,
you will
or I'll
eventually anyway.
But I don't know, I guess I just wonder. I had a friend tell me, she was like, you need to like step into that, like don't shy away so much, like you have a good personality, like put yourself out there. And I was like, okay, it's really hard for me, but I can't be mad at people for underestimating me, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad at them. It frustrates me that I'm like that. That I portray myself in how I'm not. Anyway.
Yeah, you've painted a picture of yourself that is not how the world sees you at all. So it's
and I get painted as like sweet and shy, and
no, I
like,
just mean even now listening to you, like I don't know. I'm underestimated, and I'm like, I think you're really intimidating. I think you're very accomplished. I think you're really good at what you do. I think you're a super mom. Like, I think all the things you're telling yourself are almost opposite of the truth. So it's kind of fascinating that that's your story to yourself. Because I'm like, yeah, that's not my perspective. So
it's possible. I've found that the stories I tell myself tend to be lies, so I would believe that.
Well, and I found that very accomplished people, like high achievers, are the harshest critics on themselves. They achieve so much because they're like, I'm not good enough, and so they just push and push, you know. And so, like, if you ask Dad or Janessa or Claire, like, what they think of themselves, they'd be like, I could do better. And I'm like,
just,
my gosh, you guys are like superheroes. You
like,
know?
if you do any better, you're gonna glow and
you're
burn
gonna
my
make
eyes
the rest
out.
of us pissed off. No,
yeah.
But I think that's what's more interesting to me than like I need power. Like you are telling yourself a narrative that's not accurate, I think.
Well,
so.
And I'm trying to think of like what's the ideal situation, and I think the ideal situation would be for me to get involved in investing or like a small business on the side, and that would be me being like living my potential. Like, so it's not necessarily. I don't know.
You feel it in you. Okay, so
it's in there.
I do understand.
It's not just status. It's very much in there. It's suppressed by fear.
At all. You want to accomplish something like big that the
outside
world
of myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say about that? I think I have those frustrations all the time. So I have this like secret desire to flip houses for the rest of my life. Like I feel like I'd be good at it. I feel like I would like work until my hands bled. Like I just know that would be my dream.
Fulfilling,
and I could do it right now with kids, but I feel like I'd lose my ever loving shiz. And so I'm like, so like as it stands right now, I'm not going to, but I know a lady here in town who does it with her husband. She's in her late 40s at least. And all her kids are grown up. And now they're flipping houses and they're really wealthy. And they were not like that growing up. Like when their kids were little, they didn't have a ton of money. And now like she still is fit. She still is like youthful in her approach to life. So she's not done. She's halfway through her life and she's living it, you know? And so I'm like, I think it's really like your focus right now as kids, you're gonna have your day. Like it's not over just because you hit 50 or something. Like it's gonna come. And I think you'll be grateful for
I think I'm afraid it won't come. I don't know why. Like I'm like, what if I get there and then I don't want to anymore? Well then I won't want to.
Yeah, you're afraid you'll just like run out of energy. You're not going to. Personality. No.
Yeah, you're right. Well, and every time
there are 7-year-olds who are more accomplished than we are, which is amazing. You know, I love that. So
every time I like pray about it or anything, I just feel like that exact thing. Like your time will come. Like just be patient and not like God's like don't do anything right now, because I don't feel that way. I just feel that I've always felt that prioritizing your energy is way more efficient. So like if you're cooking dinner and doing homeschool and like 40 things at once, you just can't get anything done. If you can like focus on one thing, you just get so much better. And I was listening to this How I Built This podcast, and they talk about all these massive companies and the owners will talk about how they built it. It's really, I love it. It's so good. But one of a theme in there is like they'll start this company, it gets massive, and then the if it's like a couple, the wife will slow down because she'll have a baby, and she'll be like, and most of the time they're like, I just realized this is the point of life, like right here, like this is it. And they'll sell their company and they're like, and now I'm just happy, like I have my small home, I'm financially self-sufficient, that's all I wanted. And I'm like, that's really cool, that's what's admirable to me, and I would love to get to where I'm financially independent and I could do that. So anyway,
I just watched this guy talk about he's like a surgeon or something. He's like 900 years old, at least he looked like it in the video. So he's like way retired.
I think I watched that exact same short. I know what you're talking about.
Was it the one that talks about you lose your playfulness?
Yep.
Hey,
we had the same algorithm.
Our algorithm sort of sync. It's creepy.
Wait, maybe you sent it to me.
That? But I loved that. I thought that's really, really stuck with me. I'm like, so he talks about how you give up a lot when you try to accomplish great things. He's like, not that you can't, but when you're so driven that work is the only thing that matters, he's like, you lose your joy in life, you lose your overall playfulness. You lose your spontaneity. You lose
he kept quoting
your ability
Winnie the
to connect
Pooh
with people. Yeah, he cried at the end of Winnie the Pooh because he's like Christopher Robin has to grow up and go to school and leave all his friends, and he's just realized like too late that he had focused on all of the wrong things, and not that he had accomplished all the wrong things, but his focus had been the wrong things, you know, because he probably still could have done that. But he's like, I just disregarded everything that matters, and that is, you're right, that's a thing over and over and over again with high accomplishers. It's like, what did I do? I just gave up my family for this, or I just gave up, you know, it's not worth it.
Well, and I think what Hollywood portrays is a lie too, because they're just constantly pushing this like, you are empowered when you move out of the house, and you are doing something wrong if you choose to stay home, and like you are uneducated and you're being brainwashed. And anyway, and I just think that they're not only lying because it's not good for the kids and all the things, but I think women in general, obviously not everybody, get satisfaction out of caring for their family and their home. And that doesn't necessarily mean being a stay-at-home mom, but it just means putting your focus on your family. Because like I've said a million times on this podcast, I know a lot of working moms who are better moms than me, take care of their homes better. But yeah, it's just where your focus
their focus is in the right place, even if they're working. So yeah, I 100% agree. I think we'll regret relationships lost and how our time was spent probably the most.
And I think like when I talk to like you and you know, Chancey, everybody about this topic, I just like, I need reminded often. Like it's just one of my insecurities, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, okay. Like I just forget. Like I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is why I'm doing it. And
we all tell ourselves like this weird story about ourselves. But, so I just realized like one of my weird stories I tell myself, this is gonna sound so sad, but it's like not as sad as it sounds, but it's like it's really weird. But mom, dad, someone in the family group text sent a picture of us as like teenagers, like we were kids or whatever. You saw that? And I was like, I wasn't ugly. Like I was a really cute kid. I know
the same thing when I saw that. I was like, Natty's always saying like how awkward she was. She was so freaking hot. Like what?
I was like, like my narrative to myself now and always has been like, I'm just an ugly person. Like, and I know it's like so sad, but I'm like, I've like literally gone a full circle, like come to terms with it. Like I'm okay. I can still be happy. Like I act like a burn victim who doesn't have her face anymore or something. Like I'm like,
I've told you this so many times and you won't listen to me.
In society, but it's like me telling you, like, you're super mom. Stop stressing about it. It's like,
it's your insecurity.
Like I don't know that I will ever think of myself as like a good-looking person, which is so weird. Like I don't know, and I mean that sounds like it's so weird because I am good-looking. That's not what I mean. But like in that, when I look back in that picture, I mean that was 15 or 20 years ago or something. Yeah. I was like, I am at the very least very normal looking. Like I'm not gonna like turn heads with my ugliness, but that is literally how I think of myself. Like,
oh wow,
like I think I'm like significantly ugly. It's so weird, and I
where do you think you rank? Is that too personal? You don't have to answer that.
No, I've always thought I was like like in the whole world, or are we talking like in our?
So like I think like
not among that. I mean that.
So I think number.
I meant like as far as I'm not hanging out with.
You're not with celebrities. Yeah, no. You know I think like numbers. So like how you feel. So for example, sometimes I feel like a 10 and sometimes I feel like a 4. And that averages to like a 7, I would give myself. So like what about you?
Yeah, like a 4.
You think you're a 4 all around?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
oh my gosh.
Like like a maybe a 5. Like on a really good day, like if I feel hot, I'm probably like a 6.5. Like
really?
Yeah.
You never feel like a 10?
Never. I've
never
felt like a 10.
Natty, that's fascinating because I think you are, and I'm not just saying that to boost you up. That's I know you don't like it. It makes you uncomfortable, but it's funny. Stop it. No. Stop.
I think I'm scared of it because I'm like, it's something I've always wanted because I've always felt ugly, like as a little kid and stuff. Yeah. And so if someone tells me I'm pretty, I'm scared because I'm like, well, what if it's gone? I don't want to get used to that feeling. You know what I mean? I've never been able to like capture it. So then I'm like, if I don't capture it, I won't have to be sad if it goes away.
Here's the thing though, as I used to feel like guilty about like feeling like a 10 or feeling really pretty, like very pretty. But I'm like, I think it's actually healthy to feel very beautiful. And like, and not a competition way, not in a I'm the most beautiful, but to just feel like I feel really pretty, and like that's okay. I think Vanny was really good for me that way. She's like, you're allowed to walk in the room and amaze everyone. That's okay. Like, anyway, she's very fun. She loves bright and like extra.
And she's not obnoxious. She's
not competing.
She's not competing.
She's just beautiful. Yeah. And I think that's okay for a woman to do. That is part of the woman's power to use all those feminine little tools to like, be like, I feel pretty, navigate. And it's fun. Yeah.
Anyway. No, it sounds sadder than it is. Like I definitely feel cute, like passable. It's just kind of like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like I just rank in this area where like if I got overlooked by every man on the planet, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like that's where I am. I just be like if every guy was like, yeah, you're all right, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, so I don't know. That's just where that's my number. So that's my number. Anyway, I'm comfortable there because I've accepted it, but it is funny because just the point of that whole story is like looking at that picture. I'm like, no, I'm pretty. Like that was pretty. Mm-hmm. And but then in my mind I'm like, oh, because I was young and it was a long time ago. Like I can't ever just currently be pretty. I don't know. It's weird. I'm afraid of it or something. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
I do think there is a fear there because not just with you, but in women in general, because of that very thing of like, this is not solid. It's not solid, which Mom has always been that way. She's like, I'm not putting any eggs in that basket. And she's not like she doesn't get ready. She does, but she's just like, I don't care where I rank. I have a 0 and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. There is a like a freedom in that. Yeah. Like you don't have to be like a doll who's always taking care of your looks. Like you can be more playful and fun and stuff. But I agree with you. It's totally good to do your best to dress it. I have been working on that in my life. Like, and my sisters helped me with that. Like, you should dress more to your body, and you should like,
emphasize certain areas. And
this is like you decorating. Like you're like, I want my house to look nice, but that's it. Like
you want the end result. You don't care about how it.
I don't want any of the energy in it or anything. I just want someone to pick my clothes out for me and get me ready and be like.
Well, see, I feel the opposite because I love the entire process of beauty, like from the beginning to the end. I just love it. Like I'm like it's so fun for me. So anyway,
there's some joy in it. Like I love when I find an outfit that fits me right. And like, I don't know.
And that's how I am with decorating too. Like there's certain glimpses but I'm like, oh, okay, I like this, but And I don't even know how to explain that. I don't mean to sound like I go around thinking I'm hideous. I don't think that. It's more like, it's like if anyone compliments me, maybe this is my problem too. It's like, I have a really hard time like respecting people. Corey told me it's one of my social failings and he's right. Like unless someone is like a 10 in every area, they're brilliant and beautiful and poised, and then their opinion doesn't matter to me. Like I'm like, so if I know, so why do you listen to me?
I know, but your opinion matters to me, maybe because of our closeness and stuff. And I do admire you, but I think like when someone's like, you're so pretty, I'm like, well, like that's coming from you. I don't care what you think. You know what I mean? And so it's like snobby, and I don't mean that from you. It's like that line from Pride and Prejudice. There are very few people in the world who I love, and even fewer of whom I think well. That really sums up how I feel. Like I'm just like, I really have a hard time respecting people, which is so weird because most people rank much higher than me in all those areas. Like very accomplished and very intelligent, and for whatever reason, I'm just like, it's really easy for me to see people's flaws, I guess, and it's a bad thing. I wish I didn't, but then I'm like, oh, like, I don't know. I don't know.
So unless God himself tells you that you're beautiful, you're not going to believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, that makes me sound like a terrible person. I don't have a lot of respect for humanity. And
that's what I think. Yeah.
I rank myself in that too. Like I know I have lots of failings too. So anyway. Yeah, so
no, this is fun. It's like vulnerable and fun. I wish we had more time because like that's only one question and I have so many.
I know, and now you have to go, so we can't talk about
it. We'll do it next time. We'll do part 2. We always get to like the depth at the very end. We did that last time.
That's the problem. Our podcast needs to be Joe Rogan. We need to do like 4 hours because you can't really talk until you like
can't
get
talk
all
it in 2 hours.
You can't. Okay, you know when you have like when I have a girls' night, we always stay up till 2 a.m. because we don't start talking deep till like 11 or 12.
Okay, that's what I thought. I couldn't get everyone to stay later. That's what I need help with social stuff, because that's what I was trying to get to. Like, that kind of stuff makes me happy. Like, I love staying up till 2 a.m. and talking about like all the dirty details.
Yeah.
But then like everyone was like leaving, which is like the movie ended, and also like we didn't know each other very well, and so it made sense. I know, but still, I'm like, oh, I probably did it wrong because nobody stayed late, and like. And all these moms are like, it's 8:00, it's my bedtime. And I'm like, drink caffeine, stop it.
I know.
For me, I'm like not a partier, but I'm like, okay, you can sacrifice one day.
That's probably them just being like, I'm new, like, this is a new group, I'm uncomfortable, and I'm not comfortable to you. I do that too. Like, it's,
you're right.
You operate in a very normal social realm. Like, you do everything normally, everything is accurate, and then you're like, it's because of me, and I'm like, it's not. Okay, what was I gonna say? Really quick.
I really need to go, so we have to go so fast.
Question.
No deep questions. Okay, do it fast. Faster
you
than
can think about it for next podcast, but
yeah, right. Okay, go ahead.
But Corey and I decided that every single person that we know, every single person, including ourselves, this is gonna offend so many people, but you gotta look inward and it's okay, has one social failing that if they would fix, they'd be like the it person. Like, one big one.
You don't think that there's someone that has it all, like, as far as social goes?
No, I can't think of one person who I'm not like, oh, if they just fix that, everyone would want to be around them. Like, everyone would be drawn to them. Everyone would love them.
I know people who are pretty good socially.
No, I know, right? They're pretty darn good. It's not that they're bad socially, but like, once you get to know people, we all have like one big one. Well, that's just one.
Well, that's like saying, like, yeah, because we're all human. Because like, you're totally. Basically, the more you get to know people, the more you see their flaws, and no 100%. One has no flaws. Yeah,
100%. So what was interesting about this, though, is that we asked each other, like, well, what's mine? Like, what's my big thing that like keeps people from like? Anyway, so we discovered that mine.
What'd you find out?
I discovered that mine is a propensity to judge people very harshly and then hold them to that judgment. So like, once I get to know someone, I'll find out they're failing because it's easy for me to see that for whatever reason. Yeah. And then I will just like hold them to that. Like, I'm like, I can't believe they do that. I can't believe they act this way. I can't, like, it's so hard for me to comprehend that they're human for whatever reason. And Corey's like, if you could fix that one thing, people would tell you things, they'd be drawn to you, they would like we get along socially fine enough, but like, I don't have these deep connections because people are scared of me, and rightfully so. Like, because I will slash you. I will judge them. I really, like, this sounds like I'm so comfortable with it. I hate that about myself. Like, it makes me so sad.
I don't think you're the only one, and I think admitting that is actually really good, because I think a lot of women struggle with that, and I don't like it when I really dislike it when women and people in general are like, I don't judge. I'm like, BS, you don't judge.
Yes, you do.
I'm judging you. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm judging you, judgy pants. But I do think there are those who are, like, I have a friend who, I remember, we're friends all the way back from high school, and I would tell her things like, this person, and she'd just go, I understand. That's frustrating. And like, at the time I was always like, why won't you gossip with me? You know? Yeah. And now I just admire her so much, because I seriously think she doesn't like it, and she just doesn't have that propensity like I do. She's just like, I just don't want to look at people like that. I'm like, I want to be like you, and I don't know how, you know? Anyway, so that's mine. Corey's, we decided, is he's not open enough. He's very guarded.
That's mine.
Like,
it's mine too.
Yeah, like, no one can really get to know his vulnerabilities because he'll never show them.
He is. He's hard to.
Yep. He's hard to get to. Like, even Chancey, who can get to most people, can't get to Corey. Yeah, Corey is very, very.
As far as like, he's fun to be with, but as far as like vulnerable, that's what I mean.
Exactly. Well, like I said, like, most people can get along fine. You can go to parties and you can have fun and stuff, but like, what would make you like the person that people just can't stand to be away from? Like, they just want to be with all the time, and we all have this like one thing that keeps everyone out, you know?
I think mine's probably reserved too. I keep a lot close to my chest, like a lot.
So it's not just reserved. It's a what do you call that? Not an ability, but a choice to not be vulnerable. Like, I'm gonna put this wall up, but I want you to be vulnerable with me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know that I do that. Let me think. I don't know what mine is. I feel like I tend to think about myself a lot in social situations, and that sounds vain, but it's more like insecurity. And so I'm like constantly, like my entire thought process is like, that was a stupid thing to say. I can't believe I said that. Look at how she's looking at me. Like constantly me, I. And I know it's bad. I just don't know how to fix it. So
same with him. That was what we decided. Like he's too inward. Like everything is like sucking in instead of like, how can I help? Or
how can I help?
like,
I would love to be there one day, but that's what I'm working on.
Well, I think it's like knowing what your big flaw is really useful. It's like,
okay, it is.
How can I
oh my gosh, it is. I had this like, really rude awakening. I'm not going to share what happened on here, but I found out.
That's terrible. You're killing me.
I found out just how judgmental I am. And it was honestly like, it was like pulling out, like, I don't know how to explain, like excavating like something from my soul to admit that I was extremely judgmental. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I felt so like that. I've been telling myself that I wasn't judgmental for a really long time. I think because I've been working on it for a really long time. But and not that I'm like haven't made any progress, because I think I have, but at the same time I wasn't admitting that was the problem. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I am really and once I admitted that, though, it was like you got like it's like having a baby. Like when it comes out, you're like, oh,
difficult, but I feel better.
Now I'm like, oh, okay. Like it's kind of sucky. It's kind of like you get like smacked in the face, but you're like, okay, shake it off. I can do this. Anyway, but I agree with you. I think finding out those things are really vital to improving.
And if you're brave enough, there is nobody who will be able to tell you your flaws like your spouse. They live with you. Like if you guys are in a place where you're safe enough to talk to each other, where you're like, I know you still love me, but like tell me what it is. Corey has introduced that to our marriage, and he's so good at it that it's made me feel comfortable, because I'd never do that. But I'm like, it's so fun to talk like that, because then you're like what else could I don't know, you can tell each other what to work on. I think it's like
sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, that's because I never shut up. We talk about this all the time.
I was just gonna say that I actually think it's like a form of intimacy to be able to share what you don't like about each other, like to the point of like,
that's a good point. That's so deep.
just because you're sharing like very vulnerable things, and like, hey, and like things that if you loved someone, you would tell them, like, hey, when you're in a social situation, you kind of like talk about yourself a lot, or something that's like embarrassing that if you don't tell them, who will? You know what I mean? And like when you actually share those things with your spouse, it's so rewarding. Like you feel so close after. Like I'm like, thank you for telling me that. Like I was like, obviously I don't take it like that every time. Thank you for telling me my flaws.
Thank you, kind person.
No, I'm not that good. But once I think about it and I'm mature and stuff, then it is. I'm very grateful to have him, because I'm like, man, it's nice.
That's a really good point. It can actually make you closer if you have fostered a safety there where you're allowed to talk that way to each other, and you can accept it. I was just thinking about how it like sounds like we're so deep and everything.
I know.
Like, yes,
the reality.
Oh my gosh, me and Corey got in a fight yesterday because he dared to correct me on like the tiniest thing, and I wasn't ready for it. It wasn't the right time.
He didn't,
He didn't give me like 7 weeks to prep for it. But and it was like, seriously, I should just tell you what it was. It's so stupid. But I like threw a paper away that he like pretended to care about. He didn't care about it.
Still a little mad, aren't you?
Yeah. But
he pretended to care.
He hates it. But what's funny is like it was at the end of it just boiled down to he was correcting me and I didn't like it. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have to like really get into a space where you're like, are you ready for this? Are you good? Do we love each other? Before you just like throw it out there. Hey, do you know what your big flaw is? You know, that's not what I'm advocating for. But like once we get comfortable, we talked a lot and we feel safe with each other, we'll have these conversations and they're so fun.
Yeah,
anyway.
I agree. Anyway, okay, I must go. My children are clamoring at the door.
Yay,
and my husband is going to kill me.
Okay.
Bye, Natty.
Bye.